TMJ4 News chief political reporter Charles Benson why he believes starting from scratch with redistricting is preferable to simply fixing maps that didn't meet standards.
72 counties and lots of municipalities, and make some changes and maybe major changes in one place, it takes over the entire state. So I think it was a reasonable approach.
Republicans have asked the court to reconsider the decision, saying they can't meet that Friday deadline. Wisconsin Elections Commission has said new maps must be in place by March 15th. New at noon, the city of Milwaukee appears poised to assume control of the Northridge Mall property, perhaps even later this month, with a planned demolition of the site then targeted for the summer. Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reporting that control of the mall is expected to pass to the city January 25th, according to comments made by city officials at a Common Council Zoning, Neighborhoods, and Development Committee meeting today. City would take control of the land via property tax foreclosure, while a $15 million American Rescue Plan grant would pay for the demolition. The mall's current owner, Black Spruce Enterprises, has not commented on these recent developments. Time for news about your money. WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow Jones Industrial Average is down about 167 points to 37,517. The NASDAQ at 14,875, that is up 31 points, and the S&P 500 at 4760, that's off just about 3. 2024 is here. Be ready with investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, weather are next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:04.
This report is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
The pain was so bad I could barely walk, and now after stem cell treatment, I run marathons.
Now this is an exaggeration, but I do hear about unbelievable miracle outcomes, and I have to ask, do you really believe them? If they were true, these biological treatments wouldn't even have to be advertised. Truth is, stem cell effectiveness is nowhere near 100%. It's expensive, and it doesn't last. At Rejuvenix, our FDA-approved pharmacological treatments ease inflammation and reduce pain. They're precisely administered to where your pain lives, and they work. Will the pain reduction last forever? No. But in some cases, relief has lasted as long as 24 months, and in most cases, insurance has paid for the treatments entirely. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenix Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenix.com to request your appointment.
Hey, Wisconsin, Greg Matzik here for Holiday Mazda in Fond du Lac, where the New Year's sales event is on. Make Holiday your destination to explore all that's new, shop an impressive selection, get in on enticing offers, and get more Mazda for your money and more for your trade. Right now, well-qualified buyers can lock in rates as low as 0% for up to 5 years and drive inspired in a raved-about new Mazda CX-30, CX-5, or CX-50 with standard I-Active all-wheel drive. Connect with Holiday and navigate today's car market with confidence. Relax and enjoy their transparent, simplified buying approach and genuine guest care. It's the stuff that delights and makes fans of drivers from all over, and I'm one of them. You'll be in great hands with Wisconsin's #1 Mazda dealer, top-selling Mazda certified pre-owned dealer, and the Badger State's only recipient of the prestigious Mazda President's Club Award on your side. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday Mazda in Fond du Lac and at holidaymazda.com. It's worth the trip.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update.
The rough stretch for the Bucks unfortunately continued on Monday night in Milwaukee at Pfizer Forum. Jordan Clarkson and Lauri Markkanen each had 21 points, and the Utah Jazz beat Milwaukee by a final score of 132-116.
We've been in this position before. Yeah, it's okay to be in this position. I've said, facing adversity brings the best out of you.
Milwaukee will have the next couple of days off before playing host to Boston on Thursday night. To college football, where the Michigan Wolverines defeated the Washington Huskies 34-13 to win the 2024 College Football Playoff National Championship. And lastly, over to the NFL, where the Green Bay Packers are gearing up for a trip down to Dallas to take on the Cowboys in the NFC wildcard round.
I fully believe that these guys have the mindset of just showing up, continuing to work, try to get a little bit better. We obviously know we have a great challenge in front of us.
Packers-Cowboys kickoff all set for 3:30 on Sunday afternoon. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Johnson & Sons Paving, time saver traffic. A couple of things to get through, although all things considered, not too bad. Freeways appear to be in pretty good shape right now. More wet than icy or snow covered. You have the right lane blocked on 94 Waukesha County eastbound just before Elm Grove Road. Looks like 2 cars involved in a crash. One got into the wall a bit. Highway 16, traffic running slow from I-94 to Capitol Drive. Visibility is tougher the further west you go at this point. Got a disabled semi off on the shoulder, I-94 westbound, just past County SS. And up in Washington County, Highway 45, traffic slow between the split with I-41 and West Bend. Slow in different spots in both directions.
Traffic is sponsored by Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Shop Ken Michaels Furniture's January New Year's sale for savings up to 50% off on better quality furniture and mattresses. Showrooms in Greenfield, Brookfield, and downtown Milwaukee.
Heaviest snow for today still on the way in your Storm Team forecast. Pretty much between now and 5 o'clock is when we should see the bulk of any accumulation. Should still be some rain mixed in if you are closer to the lake. So 4 accumulations, 5 to 10 inches away from Lake Michigan, closer to the lake, 2 to 5, high of 37. Tonight's low down to 29 with snow ending around midnight. Wednesday, cloudy, breezy, light snow late, accumulation of only about another inch, so a little topper for you Wednesday night, high of 34. Thursday's high, 32 degrees with some snow possible early. Snowy and windy on Friday, once again, high 33, and Saturday's high 25 with some snow possible earlier in the day. Right now in Madison, 33, Green Bay 34, 33 in Waukesha, and in Milwaukee, 34 degrees. I'm Vince Vetrano, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:09.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old. Now here's Tracy Johnson.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. It's 12:09, exactly the middle of the day. It's great to be with you on this snowy Tuesday. I'm thinking we might have a couple of different listeners today, though, because of the snow. We got pretty much all southeast Wisconsin, central Wisconsin schools are shut down. Parents are figuring out what to do with their kids. The kids are not outside playing in the snow because, as far as I can tell, at least on this side of the state, southeast Wisconsin, there isn't a lot of snow right now, but I do hear that it is coming. It is on its way, and not just today, but it sounds like tomorrow and the next day and through the weekend. So winter is here. We have saved up, and winter is here. All right, my kids got the note that school was closed last night, and it was really cute. They got the note. I actually don't know how my older son knew. He must have like a text notification from the school, but he got the notification. He found out they were doing the happy dance last night, and many kids were waking up to this news. So that's a great thing. And I'm hearing a lot of criticism that, you know, the meteorologists and the forecasters maybe overreacted. Everybody canceled school. And did they really need to do that? And, you know, I'm of the mindset that you'd rather be safe than sorry. And it just, when it's weather, I mean, you're doing the best you can with the information that you have in front of you at the time. I also heard a lot of people talking about the virtual school. I know some schools are just flipping that switch and going virtual. They must have really great systems in place because it's a lot harder than it sounds. And I know from being a parent who had kids virtually during COVID, I'm just not sure how you flip that switch. But a lot of the schools obviously made the decision because they've got the days, right? They've got the snow days. We didn't have any of the days off. So I'm not so opposed to this decision. And if this is going to be a rain event instead of a snow event at the end, I guess I'm okay with that. I do want to, though, call out the service workers and the workers at the grocery stores that have no choice, right? They can't call it in. They can't work virtually during these weather events. They have to be there. I know I was at the grocery store last night. I wasn't stocking up or anything like that, but I do know that there were probably some people doing just that, right? They were getting everything for the big snow event and hunkering down. People are trying to be very prepared for this. It was funny, though. I was talking to one of my board members this morning, and he was planning to have a work from home day. Got that flexibility, can work from home. And when they called off school, his son had to stay home. His wife was home. He said, well, you can't go outside. So I guess I'm going to head on down to the office and, this is the way that I need to handle this, because so there's that flexibility there, but oh man, it's a bummer for those who wanted to go out and play in the snow. And as I mentioned before, I have a little bit of a beef with people who are upset that there isn't more snow, and I have to support our meteorologists who, again, are doing the best they can do with the information that they have. If a business is going to close, that's their decision to do that. If a meeting is going to cancel, or if you're going to keep a meeting, for example, I'm in the Rotary Club downtown. I just got a notification that they're having the meeting. Hey, the meeting's on. There doesn't appear to be snow at the time of the meeting. So come on down. I know for our organization, we ended up canceling a meeting yesterday that was supposed to take place this afternoon. And I tend to err on the side of caution with that nowadays. Thinking back to a few years ago, we had an event. It was early in the morning. It was literally a 7 a.m. event it was end of January. And we had the forecast. They said there was going to be a snow event. There was going to be ice. And it was, probably a 60-40 chance, but you never know. Right? So I just said, we're going to forge through. We've put so much work into this event. And if it doesn't happen, we're going to be kicking ourselves. It's, let's just move forward with it. That's kind of my mindset. And I think a lot of people in the industry that I work in, which is commercial real estate, we just say, we got to make it happen. So we had people coming in from all over the state. And I couldn't sleep that night because 11 o'clock came around. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, the snowflakes started flying. And then literally the sky opened up with snowflakes, right? And the roads just became treacherous. And I was going back and forth with my team in the middle of the night. We're like, do we cancel? What do we do? And we're just like, you know what? We had our opportunity to cancel it 7 hours ago, and we decided to stay the course and move on. We had the event. Something like 50% of the people showed up. So I'm not sure if it was a success. And here's the other thing. Somebody got in an accident on the way out, and I just felt terrible about it. So I'm always going to try to err on the side of caution. So hats off to our meteorologist friends, our service workers who are out in this today, who are going to get us through this weather event, whatever it might be. So if you want to weigh in, the talk and text line is always open. We're going to keep you posted about what's happening with the storm, what's happening with the snow, what's happening with the traffic and the roads. I'm sure everybody who's traveling today is checking their flight schedules, making sure everything's on time. But, better to be safe than sorry. From what I'm hearing, this is going to happen more in the afternoon. So, again, we will keep you posted. So ahead on today's show, we have a lot to get to. Sometimes I look at what's happening in the world, and I start prepping for the show the night before, and then kind of look at the news in the morning. And man, I've got whiplash today because there is so much happening in the world that I want to talk about with you, want to discuss, want your input on. So again, take this number down, 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. We've got some hot button topics today, and also some introspective topics. So medical marijuana in the state of Wisconsin, we had legislation that was proposed by the GOP. And I want to ask the listeners a very serious question. We'll get into this after the break. So stay tuned for that. Also, drama on social media. Some people are leaning into this drama, and some people are saying, you know what, I don't want to be a part of that. Stay tuned for that. We will be talking about for-profit nursing colleges. They are slated to come to Wisconsin. And I asked the question, are these for-profit colleges a good model, not just for nursing to solve for our healthcare shortage, but just in general, this this model of education in this day and age. So stay tuned. We also have Jessie Opoyan, who will be, she's a reporter with the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. She also went to school in Iowa. And for those of you who are political junkies like I am, you know that the Iowa caucuses are coming up next week. She's going to talk a little bit about that with us later in the show. 2 o'clock, 2:07 we have her slated for. So stay tuned for all of that and more right now on WTMJ. I am Tracy Johnson. We'll be back in just a minute.
While you rest on the weekends, we work for you. Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News with Libby Collins. The latest in news.
TMJ4 meteorologist Brendan Johnson. What do you think is really going to happen?
It's going to be a busy week in the weather office for sure.
Entertainment.
Jeff Levering, pleasure to have you here today.
Season opener. It's right around the corner.
And more.
97% of a cow's gas is from burps. Now, I didn't know that.
Every Sunday morning starting at 8 on WTMJ.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Replacement windows and doors. Where do you start? Siding Unlimited is the best installation contractor in Wisconsin and even in the whole USA. So start there. How do I dare claim that Siding Unlimited is the best? Well, Pella, America's best manufacturer of windows and doors, said it. Loud and clear, naming Siding Unlimited their Platinum Elite Contractor of the Year 3 years in a row. That's a big title. It's a big deal. It means best of the best. Our own Siding Unlimited. Local, family-owned, honest and reliable, knowledgeable and skilled. Siding Unlimited. So, where do you start? You want windows, but think siding. Siding Unlimited, Wisconsin's best. America's best. SidingUnlimited.com.
Welcome back on WTMJ. I think that music appropriately fits how people are feeling today. It's kind of like all over the place. Like, oh man, what's going on? Is there snow? Is there not going to be snow? I canceled my plans because I thought we were going to have this huge weather event. I got somebody calling me a snowflake. All right, that's totally fine. Listen, I would rather have the information about school closures and meeting closures up front than to make these plans or not be able to plan appropriately, or worse, to get in a car accident. And again, as I mentioned, I learned the hard way that when you just plow forward, you move forward and you say, it's just weather. It's just a snowflake. I got news for you. I mean, there's a reason that people get into accidents when it's snowing out, and it's not necessarily that they're driving inattentively. Sometimes it's just not a good idea to be out on the roads. And another thing, you're putting so many other people at danger, and is that really appropriate? Now, okay, that was a little out of school for me. I don't like to sit here and yell at people. So I digress. I want to start with this story because I think we've given it about 24 hours to percolate, and it's going to take a lot more time to really get our arms around this issue and this story for the residents of Wisconsin. So yesterday, the Assembly GOP, Robin Voss, rolled out a much-anticipated marijuana bill. It was a medical marijuana bill. It's a very restrictive bill to those who push for a full-blown recreational use bill. All right. So they're saying it's very, very restrictive. But I think when I was listening to the explanation and what this legislation contains, I thought it answered a lot of questions for people who are really asking for this medical marijuana usage to be satisfied. And I've sat in this chair long enough times where this issue has come up, and I know that people have very, very strong opinions. And I want to be very sensitive to the people who text in and say, I lost my uncle, and if he would have had access to medical marijuana treatments, he would have been saved, or glaucoma or cancer. And I want to be very sensitive to that. And I think that's what the legislators and the Republicans in the Assembly were really trying to do. In this bill, this medical marijuana bill, users would have access to medical marijuana for illnesses like cancer, glaucoma, MS, severe chronic pain, and it would be distributed through these statewide dispensaries so that there could be proper documentation. At least that's the way it's being positioned right now. And it could be distributed in pills, oils, creams, vapors, but not smoke. All right. So, I've covered this topic a lot, and I know it's a hot button issue. A lot of voters care about this. A lot of Wisconsin residents care about this. And in a 2019 Marquette University Law School poll, something like 87% of Wisconsin residents said that they want some sort of medical marijuana legalization. And they have it. They got a first draft. They've got a piece of legislation to look at. And you're seeing a lot of people weigh in, a lot of people saying, this doesn't go far enough. We want more access. The fact that it's being run through a statewide agency. Some free market folks are saying we need to have this be done through the private sector, through the public or private sector, because these people know how to market. They know how to distribute. They know how to get this to the end users. So why is the state creating another agency to try to deliver this, to try to manage this process? And there are other people who don't like the legislation who say, marijuana usage, legalization of any marijuana usage is a gateway to recreational usage, or it will contribute to all sorts of problems. Then you've got other people who say we need to go far on this because of the tax impact. You've seen 38 other states that have working legislation, and they're benefiting from the tax revenue. They potentially aren't having to put people in jail who are caught for certain amounts of marijuana use. So I see both sides, but my question today, as we see this bill being proposed, is this a good enough place to start? Do we have something here? And I know the governor has suggested that he's going to look through the bill. He's going to look for any poison pills that would potentially really make this a non-starter. But are we going to let perfect be the enemy of good here, or is this a good place to start? 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. I truly come from a place of curiosity because, again, 87% of Wisconsin residents said we want some sort of legalization for medical marijuana. You have a document in place. Now, this is going to be discussed in a number of committee hearings over the next few weeks. We're going to have Majority Leader Tyler August on the show tomorrow. He can possibly give us some insight about what's happening with this. But this is a starting point. And I think it's good to have this discussion. But we also need to really understand what we're asking for. Are we really asking for medical marijuana usage, or are we really trying to push for full-blown recreational marijuana usage? 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Is this a good starting place for the state of Wisconsin? as we really face this issue, as we really face the prospect of legalization of medical marijuana. 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Your response, more reaction when we return.
For the latest on Capitol Hill, tune in to CBS's chief Washington correspondent, Major Garrett.
The Biden re-election campaign and its surrogates will be making many, many traces through Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin for all of the understood fundamental blocking and tackling reasons of a re-election campaign. What's your message? Who's your messengers? And is it resonating? And if it isn't, send more messengers, send more messaging, and get your people energized.
Thursdays at 3:45 on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
In this seller's market, even homeowners are trying to sell their own home. But more times than not, it doesn't work out like they'd hoped. And while homes like theirs are selling, and selling fast for over asking prices, their homes aren't. So what's your next best strategy? Well, if you're looking to relieve yourself of the stress of selling your own home and still get top dollar while getting the full service benefits that an experienced realtor can give you, then look no further. I'm Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where 3.5 to 3.9% commission assures that you pay less for full service. Only 11% of those trying to sell their own homes actually succeed. And of those that do sell their own home, they sell on average for 26% less than agented properties. This often negates the savings they were hoping to get by doing it on their own. So why do it on your own when you have an experienced realtor that will give you full service at only 3.5 to 3.9% commission? Don't let your home sit while others are selling faster and at potentially better than asking prices. Call Benefit Realty for a highly experienced agent, and you'll pay less for full service.
A jewelry store can be a pretty scary place. It's full of diamonds and gold, and sometimes the salespeople can make you feel like you really don't belong.
Who wants to feel like that? Buying a diamond should be one of the happiest and most exciting moments of your life, and we promise to make it that way for you. Cross my heart. No matter your age, how you're dressed, or how much money you have, you're going to have a magical experience when you come to Kessler's.
You're going to see the largest selection of diamond engagement rings in one place at one time than you've ever seen in your life.
Looking at rings is a wonderful way to spend time together. And when you find the ring you know is the one, but cash might be a little tight, we've got fantastic financing available and we'll work hard to get you approved.
We're on your side. Kessler's is always on your side. We're 8 stores strong with 6 locations in Wisconsin and 2 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We'd be thrilled to have you stop in and see what we're all about.
We're gonna get high, high, high with the music on. Won't say bye, 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 bye.
Welcome back on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson with you until 3 o'clock this afternoon. I didn't say this at the top of the hour, but I will be here a couple of times, actually a lot of times, I think, in the month of January as WTMJ solidifies the plans for the afternoon slot. So stay tuned for that. I am here, though, just having a blast. This is such a great opportunity, a great experience, and hopefully you guys are having a little fun too. And if you want to call in, it's 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. And today, Charlie and Sam are co-producing in the booth. They're picking out the music. So I really am having a blast with that. So we are talking about the medical marijuana legislation that was rolled out by the GOP yesterday afternoon, right about this time. And it is restrictive. It is very restrictive, admittedly so. This is a first step in what could be, really what the voters have asked for. Legalization of medical marijuana in the state of Wisconsin. And it's a starting point, right? It's 5 state-run dispensaries. It's for medical use only. There is a very strict documentation process that is being outlined to hopefully be put in place so that this is managed. And Speaker Voss has said, this is what you asked for. This is what you asked for. And let's use this as a starting place. I have one texter who says, this shouldn't be a starting place. This should be as far as it goes. This is it. This is perfect. Don't go any further. There are a number of states across the country, 38 states that have medical or marijuana legalization that are trying to roll back the usage because it does lead to problems, or it can lead to problems, homelessness, overuse as a gateway. These are just concerns that others have suggested. I am not a user, so I only have the feelings that I have based on what I've read and what I can rationalize. But I asked that question, is this good enough? Now, we're going to have a number of meetings throughout the week and the month to try to nail this down. And I really think this will be a winning proposition for the GOP come election time. Let's get this issue off the table. Let's come to some sort of solution. You've been asking for it. Let's do it. Let's get it done. Now, let's do something about the issue of abortion. Let's do something about controversial issues that I think are standing in the way of really productive discussions about these controversial issues. So we don't know where it's going to go, but we do know that this is a starting place. And I actually sense that the governor could be open to it. We don't know. He said he's going to look over it with his team. So we'll continue to follow this. And if you want to weigh in, I know I've got a lot of texts to get through. We might touch on a few of those, 855-616-1620 on the Old National Bank talk and text line. I'm Tracy Johnson. It's 12:33 here on WTMJ.
Hey, John Mercure here. I'm going on an incredible trip to southern Italy and Sicily. My wife and I would love for you to come with us. October 2024, what an itinerary. A full week in breathtaking Sicily, the stunning seaside towns with their cobblestone piazzas, UNESCO World Heritage Sites, the breathtaking Amalfi Coast and Sorrento, taking the deep blue hues of the Mediterranean, sailing to Positano, plus visit historic Pompeii. Won't you come with us? Let me send you information on this great trip. It's john.mercure@WTMJ.com, john.mercure@WTMJ.com. Lots of food, great wine, time for shopping. It's incredible Italy next fall. I'll send you one of our beautiful brochures if you send me an email, john.mercure@WTMJ.com. We'll also be adding on Rome. I love Rome. Come with us, won't you? October 2024, incredible Italy, breathtaking and stunning. John.Mercure, MERCURE @WTMJ.com.
Your financial life is about way more than investments. There's also taxes, insurance, estate planning, and other elements that need to be considered. Find out what your financial plan may be missing with a free Wealth Path analysis from Creative Planning. A Wealth Path analysis is a blueprint for your completely customized plan built to maximize your wealth and ensure all aspects of your wealth are working harder together. This offer is only good till Monday at midnight. That's creativeplanning.com/radio.
When you hire your local CertaPro painters, you get
the power of a cut above.
Decades of expertise to transform your home. From so-so to virtuoso.
The power of neighborhood painters.
We live where you live and probably like the same pizza place you do. Put
the power of pro
to work for you today. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
That's how we get high. I know you mean no harm, baby. Bless your wicked heart.
Welcome back on WTMJ. I had mentioned the text line. I don't know if people are voice texting, but they are writing these very articulate statements and arguments. It's almost, it used to be like no or yes, or you don't know what you're talking about, or I don't agree with you. But we've got some great feedback and a number of callers on the latest GOP medical marijuana bill that was introduced yesterday. Robin Voss was articulating and outlining the parameters of the bill. And I ask, is this a good starting place? Do we have something to work with here to satisfy the voters, the 87% of Wisconsin voters who said we need to move on this? Let's go to Sam in McHenry. You're on WTMJ.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Great. What do you think? Is this a good starting place?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't hear the whole conversation, but I'll just give you my basic thoughts on it. When it comes to medical, I have no problem because the way I look at it is what's the difference if you go to a doctor and it gives you a prescription for pot or he gives you some prescription for some man-made chemical coming from some pharmaceutical outfit that has side effects, and over time, there's been known problems with these drugs too. So, I don't really see, why get all worked up? Pot is all natural. You don't have to really worry about the chemicals, man-made stuff. That's my point with that. So I have no problem on medical. But when you get into the recreational, that's where I have a problem because, I would never encourage my kids to smoke pot. I would never smoke pot in front of them and get all goofy. That's just the way it is. And I think it's the wrong signal because if adults are doing it, it tells kids, hey, this is good. Getting a kid started on pot, whether they never use that as a gateway drug or not, it's just nothing good comes out of it.
Yeah, but see,
nothing good. And their whole argument is, well, we can get this tax money. That's not a good enough argument for me.
So
you have to say no to certain things in society. And this is one thing, again, that I just say no. Alcohol, you can drink beer, you can have a glass of wine. You can control it, but when people start using pot or other drugs, they're doing it for the specific purpose of getting high.
Sam,
and that's where I cut it off. I'm like, it's no good.
Yeah, Sam, how do you respond though to the fact that you walk up and down the street, Wisconsin street, and people are smoking it. You can smell it my kids know that smell. They say, "Mom, I know that smell." So, really, if we legalize it or not. And this would be recreational. Would it even make a difference, or is it just the suggestion that we're supporting this behavior?
Well, again, if you're smelling it, they shouldn't be smoking it out in public.
Yeah.
I know somebody's trying to pass a bill right now saying, I think it's in Illinois, saying you cannot vape within 10 feet of a door going into a building now. Because people don't want to breathe your vape.
Yeah.
So. To me, and if my kids, I don't have small kids, but if I did, I would be telling them the guy's an idiot and don't you ever do that. So that would be my response.
Yeah, Sam, thanks for
because nothing good comes out of that lifestyle. You just turn into a lazy bum as far as I'm concerned. I've seen guys smoking when I was younger. And, a lot of them didn't amount to much of anything. So,
Sam, thank you for the call. I think Sam's bigger point, which I agree with, is the fact that medical marijuana, there's a purpose for that. So this is a good move. And I actually think that if the GOP plays their cards right, if they can get this passed and they can get the support of the Senate, of the governor, that this could be a really winning issue. And I don't like when politicians play politics, although I know that's what politicians do. But I do sense that there's sincerity here. I do think that the timing is good. They're in an era where they're trying to move on big, controversial issues. And they don't need bipartisan support on this in the Assembly. It's my understanding they have the 50 votes. But what's going to happen in the Senate? What's going to happen with the governor? We don't know yet. We're going to see. Don in Manitowoc, you're on WTMJ.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
Is this a good start? Medical marijuana?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
All you're doing is going by what Minnesota did, and then they ended up going recreational. And I'm telling you from experience, and I want you to. I got some really good information for you. I'm a 10-year stroke survivor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to make laws, they should be based on science. Do you agree?
Go on.
Well, okay. The National Institute of Health, the NIH, has a patent for medical marijuana. Not even medical marijuana, just marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
For stroke patients, for ischemic stroke patients. The patent number is 663.
What's your point?
05.
Yeah, Don. What's your point?
My point is that marijuana is medical.
Just by nature.
To the point that the national, they have a patent for ischemic stroke patients.
Yes,
I'm an ischemic stroke patient because I took an antibiotic,
right,
and I had an allergic reaction.
So this
and
natural
I found out that the government
medicine would be helpful to you.
The government says so, yes. The NIH says yes.
So in the state of Wisconsin, I think they're being responsive and responsible. And to go off of the point of what you mentioned Minnesota, about 40,000 people participate in Minnesota's program, which does allow for recreational use, but from a medical perspective. And Robin Voss said that they used those numbers actually to estimate how many would participate in Wisconsin.
Pills and tinctures do not work. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
If I'm having a stroke, if I'm stroking out, I'm having stroke feelings.
Yeah.
Me taking a pill and maybe I'll get a little bit of relief in an hour. Don't do me no good.
Don,
all right?
Thank you for the call. We're going to leave it there. I think Don, I mean, he's somebody who's gone through this, and you guys are texting and telling me. Not only telling me, you're telling your elected representatives and your elected officials. And I'm assuming that they're listening. And that's why they've put out this bill. Now, is this bill perfect? Are people having a problem with the fact that it would be run through these state-run dispensaries? Yeah. I mean, that's a detail. Can we get over it? Can we negotiate? I'm thinking that we can. But is this a good starting spot? John in West Dallas, you're on WTMJ.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. This bill is a good start.
Anyways, I'll just preface my little diatribe here that I've been smoking pot for the last 10, 12 years.
Perfect.
For a variety of reasons. Both, it helps with my physical aches and pains. I'm 77 years old.
Yes.
And there's some stuff. I don't drink, so this is kind of like my social thing. When I heard that, yay, finally Wisconsin has been enlightened, that I don't have to drive up to Michigan or drive down to Illinois, I thought, good.
Yeah.
I can buy my pot legally here. Then when I read the bill that they proposed, it's laughable.
Okay, be specific, because I'm really curious. Name one or two things, just quickly, what is ludicrous about this?
Specifically, when has the government ever stuck their nose in something and ran it where it's worked out?
Okay.
For them to want to have their hands on the dispensaries, the government dispensaries, it's like there's no other state that has ever proposed this. It's ludicrous.
Yeah, I mean, and that's that's a good point, and I think that's a place to start to look. And I that's not a poison pill by any means. I think that's a place to negotiate. At the end of the day,
I've always been upfront. Yeah, go ahead.
At the end of the day, the reason they were suggesting that this would be state run is for the documentation, to be able to track this and document it. And perhaps, like one of the other callers was suggesting, I mean, this is medicine. Do we do that with any other type of medication? I don't know the answer to that question. So again,
it's a medicine that you can't overdose on.
Right, and it's not.
Ask anybody, have they ever had an overdose of marijuana?
Right.
The edibles, yes, because people, they take one and 10 minutes later, I don't feel anything, so they pop a couple more, and then all of a sudden, wham! It
John,
hits them.
Thank you for the call. I think. I mean, we talk about the fact that it's a start. Is it a good start? We have mixed opinions, and we're seeing those mixed opinions at the state too. Representative Melissa Agard, who is a proponent of legalizing recreational marijuana, says, no, this is ridiculous. You need to go further. But you can't go further unless you've started somewhere. And so this is the proposal that we have before us. Al, we'll take one more call. Alan Slinger, you're on WTMJ.
Thank you for taking my call. I equate medical marijuana and the start. This is a start, but it goes way too far. It doesn't go far enough.
Okay.
I use recreational. I'm, been a smoker in the past, but now having an edible and having a gummy is just like drinking alcohol. I would much rather do that than drink alcohol, because you can control it, feel better, and it is very relaxing. I recently took a trip up to Michigan, and every car in the parking lot, it made everybody laugh that was standing in line. 12 cars, all from Wisconsin.
Yeah. Well, and that is a big argument, is what is the tax capture? And obviously we're not able to do that right now. So, I think
this bill definitely doesn't.
No,
it's too restrictive, and I totally agree with what you just said. The state dispensaries, there just aren't any. It's not meant to be a state-run, just open up dispensaries and control them, but put them in the public's hands. And just like the other states around us, they do a good job of it. We need to just move along and get this bill passed so we can get the recreational passed within the next couple of years.
Al, thanks for the call. I think there are a couple themes that I've heard. One is very loud and clear from the people who support recreational use, that we just aren't, that let's get something going so that we can move to recreational use, and we can work on that. And I think that is the exact opposite of the intent of this bill. I think people want two very different things, and I'm not sure you can have both at the same time and still have the quality of life that we shoot for. Can you have the tax capture, and can you have the medical marijuana legalization? I've always heard that the medical reasoning is the more compelling reasoning, and that's exactly what is being proposed. And it might not be perfect right now, but we're certainly going to be continuing to look at that. In response to the voters, I think it's a responsible thing for the elected officials to try to move forward, and we'll be seeing those conversations happening throughout the week next week and throughout the month. But I appreciate the thoughtful input. And I think we can actually have a constructive discussion when we have something on the table to consider. So we'll continue to follow this throughout the next couple of weeks. Medical marijuana being introduced in the state of Wisconsin. Right now, though, it's 12:49 on WTMJ.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing, because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at adventknows.com, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Doesn't it seem like you never have anything to wear? That's why I shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. Whether it's a designer top, jeans, an adorable skirt, or cute accessories, I always seem to find something I like. And at prices I love. Gently used women's clothing and accessories for far less than you thought possible. At St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
SemperFiRoofing.com.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, we also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, AccuNet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. AccuNet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Just give me a reason, just a little bit's enough. Just a second when I'm broken.
Welcome back on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson in the big chair until 3 o'clock this afternoon. We're wrapped up on this first topic of marijuana, medical marijuana bill being introduced yesterday in the Wisconsin State Assembly. I just want to read one quick text, and I thought this was interesting. It says, when you think about it, it's all quite funny. We live in a world where we have homeless vets, child trafficking, problems with fentanyl deaths, and yet people are most passionate about the legislation of marijuana, the priorities that people have. And so when you hear that, you can think about that in two different ways. Some of it that this is just a ridiculous discussion, and some of it that, we really do have big issues, and a lot of people see this as one of them. So we got a lot of big issues and a lot of big hills to tackle in our state. And, when we can work together, when we can look at real solutions and start to pick them apart and start to look at the pros and cons of any piece of legislation that's put forward, then we can really move somewhere. Now, we've seen bipartisan legislation in the last few months, in the last year, over the Brewers Stadium funding. We saw a significant shared revenue bill that was signed into law by Democrat governor with support from Republicans and Democrats at the state. So the more that we can tackle the big issues and the more that we can have a discussion and really, really be thoughtful about what we're trying to accomplish, I think the better off that we all are. So we'll continue to follow this. Thank you so much for your input and the calls on that. I want to switch now to a topic that we'll dig into a little more later in the show with our guest, Jesse Opoyan, who's going to talk about the Iowa caucuses. And again, for those of you who follow the Iowa caucuses and the presidential primaries, next week, Tuesday, is the first presidential primary in Iowa. And this is really the kickoff to the primary election season. Iowa, which is our neighbor to the south, is experiencing the weather that we are experiencing right now. And as you can imagine, these candidates, these presidential candidates that are trying to cross the state and barnstorm in advance of the caucuses are really running into issues. There's an article from Axios today that says that they're under a winter storm warning just like we are. They're actually experiencing 6 to 12 inches of snow expected across the state. They talked to a number of the candidates. Nikki Haley and former President Trump have already canceled Iowa events due to weather and travel issues. So this could be a big deal. In fact, many of the people talking about this says that weather is the number one caucus turnout problem. And the caucuses in Iowa, which we'll talk about again at 2 o'clock to explain from an expert, I would say, the caucuses require people to be in person. You can't absentee caucus. You can't mail it in. You can't text it in. This is a face-to-face, old school, in-person process. And right now, they are under this severe winter storm watch, and they're unable to gather. The candidates are unable to reach out to the constituents and to the caucus goers. So this could be a major disruptor for many of you who remember voting in person on election day back in the day. You recall that you got to keep your eye on the weather, right? If it's going to rain, if it's going to snow, that's a huge deterrent. And I actually don't know which quote unquote party it hurts, but it does suppress the vote. It keeps people from going out and voting. It keeps people from going to work. Keeps people from doing everything. So we're going to keep an eye on that because I got news for you. They're not going to change the date of that, right? It's January 16th. We're going to talk to a couple of people who are familiar with this process, the lead up the events, the action, what's happening there. It's really, really unique and really different from what we do here in Wisconsin. So the weather wreaking havoc everywhere. There you go. There's my snow plug for the hour. All right. Right now it's 12:56 on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson. We'll be back after the news.
Every day, it seems like there's always something new going on in the world of politics. Join WTMJ now for the Political Power Hour. Bill McCoshen.
The first lesson I learned when I worked for Governor Thompson is never give away power.
And Joe Zepecki.
I'm often accused of being the Eeyore on this panel, so let's try to find a silver lining.
Will help make sense of today's political headlines.
He's the guy that sits in the front of the class and always has an answer for something, and you're like, sit down and shut up.
I thought you were that guy.
No.
It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ.
Losing sleep lately? The job, the house, the headlines, or investments? How about the feeling your investment partner isn't a partner at all? They might be operating in someone's best interest, but that someone isn't you. It's time for Annex Wealth Management. It's easy. Head to annexwealth.com, click the Get Started button. We work in your best interest as a fiduciary. That commitment runs so deep, we put it in writing. Does your advisor do that? Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Start at annexwealth.com.
Vince Vitrano for Connect Chiropractic. Been seeing Dr. Alex and his team since the summer. Different kind of chiropractic care. No twisting, no cracking, no popping. They use a special tool for all your adjustments. It's not just for a sore back or neck. Adjustments that can help your body better adapt to stress. Connect Chiropractic is hosting a workshop in January on this very topic. Details coming to the website soon. And coming in early 2024, a new Connect Chiropractic location in Delafield. So much happening at Go Connect Chiro. That's GoConnectChiro.com.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlands.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands. You're due for service.
Richlands. Hey, Gene Miller for Forest Ridge Senior Residences, a caring community known for its small-town friendliness while offering luxury living in a big way. Nestled in the village of Hales Corners, Forest Ridge delivers first-class amenities, accommodating active lifestyles with entertainment and transportation. Enter through the fully renovated community center with exquisite dining to see our brand-new 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, where your rent is frozen until 2026. Come tour Forest Ridge Senior Residences today. Call 414-485-9507.
It's David Nason, your personal inspection pro from WTMJ's The Fix-It Show. I'm with my go-to basement repair guy, Chris Mancuso of Accurate Basement Repair. This is the team I personally recommend for leaky or cracked basements.
Wow, thanks, David. Our team at Accurate Basement Repair has been fixing leaky and cracked basements for the Fix-It listeners for over 20 years.
That's great, Chris. For more information about how to schedule a free inspection and estimate, check out AccurateBasementRepair.com, because they're not just good, they're accurate.
January. I know. Not the greatest always, right? WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you've got the January blues, brighten up your Monday and Tuesday with a free dinner at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club, voted the best supper club in the area. Enjoy any steak, seafood, pan-fried walleye, a fresh salad, the steak and lobster, anything on the menu. You got it. Your second dinner is always free. Desserts and those huge ice cream drinks are buy one, get one free. I think it's the best part of the meal. Sip on an old-fashioned. Check out the Manhattan, bourbon, 100 wines, ice-cold beer out of the tap. The Fox and Hounds in the heart of the Kettle Moraine Forest is truly a one-of-a-kind gem. The holiday decorations are still up with thousands of lights, the Christmas characters. It's a must-see, and those 7 wood-burning fireplaces keep you warm on a cold January night. Nice and cozy. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the famous Holy Hill Shrine. The drive is beautiful. Enjoy your free dinner tonight. Reserve at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Your hometown hub for everything that matters. The latest news, traffic, weather, and sports on Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At
At 101, it's 34 degrees. A WTMJ Fleet Farm storm team alert. Winter storm warning in effect for all of southeastern Wisconsin throughout the day. Heaviest snow still yet to come. Mix again with a little rain if you're closer to the lake. Snow ends about midnight tonight. It'll be windy overnight with a low of 29. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Greg Matzik. Our coverage continues here. WTMJ Fleet Farm Storm Team coverage. The storm is here, our first real taste of winter. WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen says more snow is expected inland.
6 to 10 inches of accumulation. So from West Allis and Wauwatosa west to Brookfield, Pewaukee, Waukesha, and Oconomowoc, places north to Germantown and West Bend, south to McWanago and East Troy and Burlington, 6 to 10 inches there.
You can expect 2 to 5 inches near the lakefront. Former President Donald Trump back in court today in Washington.
To authorize the prosecution of a president for his official acts would open a Pandora's box from which this nation may never recover.
That's D. John Sauer, lawyer for the former president, arguing before a 3-judge panel that presidents have absolute immunity from prosecution for official acts conducted while in office. Trying to get the federal election interference case against him thrown out, ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
Donald Trump's attorney argued that a president can only be prosecuted if he's first been convicted at a Senate impeachment trial. Justice Department lawyer James Pierce said that would mean a president could commit a crime and avoid prosecution by resigning before being removed.
That is frightening.
But Trump attorney John Sauer said what's frightening to him is the idea of past presidents being prosecuted for their official acts.
That is tailor-made to launch cycles of recrimination that will shake our republic for the future.
The judges on the panel seemed deeply skeptical of his argument. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
NTSB investigators are focusing in on bolts meant to hold unused doors in place on Boeing 737 MAX 9 aircrafts after a door plug flew out of an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 9 on Friday while in flight. ABC's Alex Stone.
The Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 door plug found in a Portland school teacher's backyard is being sent to a lab to analyze how it came loose. Lead NTSB investigator Jennifer Homendy says they want to know if the bolts keeping the door in place broke or weren't even there when it blew out, and they're looking into reports by other airlines that they have found loose bolts on their MAX 9s.
We have heard reports from United, Alaska, and Boeing about loose bolts.
Alex Stone, ABC News.
And the Wisconsin Supreme Court has set Friday as a deadline for both sides in the redistricting lawsuit to submit new maps. Governor Tony Evers tells TMJ4 News chief political reporter Charles Benson why he believes starting from scratch with redistricting is preferable to simply fixing maps that didn't meet standards.
72 counties and lots of municipalities make some changes and maybe major changes in one place. It takes over the entire state. So I think it was a reasonable approach.
Republicans have asked the court to reconsider its decision, saying they can't meet the Friday deadline. The Wisconsin Elections Commission has said new maps must be in place by March 15th. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Mixed results on the indices this afternoon, with the Dow currently down 151 points at 37,531. S&P 500 down about 2.5 points at 4760. And the NASDAQ up this afternoon, 35.5 points at 14,877. News sponsored by Annex Wealth Management's Money Talk. Check it out Saturdays at 10 here on WTMJ. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 1:05.
This report is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
I couldn't even bend over, but now after stem cell treatment, I can deadlift a house.
Now this is an exaggeration, but I do hear about unbelievable miracle outcomes, and I have to ask, do you really believe them? If they were true, these biological treatments wouldn't even have to be advertised. Truth is, stem cell effectiveness is nowhere near 100%. It's expensive, and it doesn't last. At Rejuvenix, our FDA-approved pharmacological treatments ease inflammation and reduce pain. They're precisely administered to where your pain lives, and they work. Will the pain reduction last forever? No. But in some cases, relief has lasted as long as 24 months, and in most cases, insurance has paid for the treatments entirely. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenix Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenix. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenix.com to request your appointment.
According to the U.S. debt clock, our debt is over $32 trillion and climbing. The question is, how do we pay it off? One of the most likely answers is increasing taxes. Now think about your retirement accounts. Do you want to pay taxes on some of that money now when rates are historically low, or later when rates are potentially higher? At Drake & Associates, we can help you create a plan so your retirement is tax efficient as possible. If you'd like to continue your education, we have our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides on retirement tax savings. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text TAX to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting TAX to 414-409-9982. When taxes go up, will you be ready? Call or text now.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, and SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
The rough stretch for the Bucks unfortunately continued on Monday night in Milwaukee at Pfizer Forum. Jordan Clarkson and Lauri Markkanen each had 21 points, and the Utah Jazz beat Milwaukee by a final score of 132-116.
We've been in this position before. Yeah, it's okay to be in this position. I've said, facing adversity brings the best out of you.
Milwaukee will have the next couple of days off before playing host to Boston on Thursday night. To college football, where the Michigan Wolverines defeated the Washington Huskies 34-13 to win the 2024 College Football Playoff National Championship. And lastly, over to the NFL, where the Green Bay Packers are gearing up for a trip down to Dallas to take on the Cowboys in the NFC wildcard round.
I fully believe that these guys have the mindset of just showing up, continuing to work, try to get a little bit better. We obviously know we have a great challenge in front of us.
Packers-Cowboys kickoff all set for 3:30 on Sunday afternoon. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Time for a look at your roads at Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic Update. Everything a little slower than usual. Typical delays if you are 43 southbound between Brown Deer and downtown. Your usual delays about 16 minutes that ride, normally about 12. Slowing down a little more with all the wet roads. Primarily wet, nothing too frozen or icy, at least as of yet. Roads appear to be in pretty good shape. 41 southbound, or northbound, I should say. The ramp at Pilgrim Road, right lane blocked due to a crash there. Otherwise, standard, albeit somewhat slower times. Usual along the system.
Traffic is sponsored by the Heiser Automotive Group. Come in and make that deal. Visit Heiser Automotive Group with 4 convenient locations or online at Heiser.com. Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Lincoln, and Cadillac. Today's your day.
Well, it's a WTMJ Fleet Farm Storm Team Alert. The winter storm warning is in effect for all of southeast Wisconsin through today. The heaviest snow is still yet to come. Expect about 6 to 10 inches further inland when it's all said and done, maybe 2 to 5 if you're closer to the lake. As for temperatures, we will bottom out at about 29 overnight, up to 34 tomorrow. Could still expect about an inch of accumulation. Get a little break on Thursday with a high of 32. Expect another round of snow on Friday with a high of 33 degrees. It's 30 degrees in Madison, 34 in Green Bay, 30 in Waukesha, and 31 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 1:09.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old. Now here's Tracy Johnson.
It's 1:10 on WTMJ. Great to be with you on this snowy Tuesday afternoon. I was strolling through Twitter during the break, and it looks like there's just not a lot of accumulation right now. I'm sure you didn't need to be listening to me to know that, but we shall see what happens in the coming days. I know some people are frustrated because school was canceled. They had to change plans, but I always think better to be safe than sorry. And if you can make an accommodation, if you can be flexible, if that's one thing we learned with COVID, if that's one benefit, I should say, that came out of COVID, then there it is, that we can be flexible. So we have a lot of drama in our world today, but I like this story because one leader is saying, I'm not getting involved. So as we know, this Sunday, the Packers face the Dallas Cowboys in a much anticipated playoff matchup. And the game, I believe, is 3:25. It's in the afternoon, late afternoon again. And so we're always looking for those storylines and those angles on the matchup. And we're hearing from the coaches and many of the players in anticipation of there. And one of the very strong storylines, of course, is that former Packers coach, Mike McCarthy, who is now the current coach of the Dallas Cowboys, is going to be part of that matchup. And last year, when Dallas and McCarthy came to Lambeau Field and played the Packers, lost to the Packers, McCarthy was talking to reporters, and he was talking about how much he missed being in Green Bay. Obviously, for those who know, he was fired in 2018 after being the longest running coach for the team. He was very emotional about the matchup. And when asked about it this time, he just said, you know what? I'm not going to get into the drama. I'm not going to talk about it. This is not about me. This is, last year, because it was my first time back in Green Bay, where we won a Super Bowl, where we won many games. We had a great season. I talked about it. I was emotional about it. But I'm not going to do it this time because I don't want to be part of the drama. And it's funny. I was looking through the news. I was like, what was the drama? What is the drama? And there wasn't necessarily dramatic events or comments that came out of his time here in 22 when he came back in 2022. But it was just about trying to be sucked into that. Obviously this is a contested matchup. Obviously this is a homecoming of sorts, even though we're going to Dallas. But he's not going to be part of the drama. He wants the focus to be on the players. He wants the focus to be on the field and on the team. And what he says, and I love this in his quote, he says, it's a player's game. It's always been, and it always will be. That's all that it should be focused on. I believe there are 24 hours in a day, and you've got 7 days to prepare. And if you're not working on winning, then it's a waste of time. So I love reading that from Mike McCarthy, and I can't wait to see this matchup. I know people are going to be speculating, but he's not going to play into it. He's a humble guy. He's modest, and it's something that we just don't see nowadays, especially with professional athletes. It's something that we don't see with celebrities. They're always looking for the camera. They're always looking to be in the spotlight. So I really, really appreciate that from Mike McCarthy. I've always really liked his leadership and thought that he was an excellent coach. Whatever happened on the field and for whatever reasons that he is no longer with us. So obviously he's doing something right in Dallas because they are a phenomenal team and they're going to be quite a competitor. In fact, they are favored by something like 7 points for this Sunday's matchup. All right, speaking of drama, it began with a tweet from Washington County Executive Josh Schoeman on New Year's Day. All right. It says, come to Washington County for the savings, stay for the quality of life. Exhibit A, in the city of Milwaukee today, you will pay an additional $60 for this bedroom set. And he linked a furniture set from Ashley Furniture. What the county executive from Washington County was talking about was the sales tax increase that went into effect on January 1st in the city of Milwaukee and Milwaukee County. So Milwaukee's had a 2% city sales tax increase, and Milwaukee County sales tax went from 0.5% to 0.9%. So that's what he said in his tweet on New Year's Day. A few days prior, he tweeted that Milwaukee neighbors looking to save money were welcome to come to Washington County, and he intended for it truly to be a welcoming message. So this was the first tweet, all right, the tweet across the bow. Then Mayor Cavalier Johnson said, if folks are looking at high quality dinner or a theater or fine dining experience, they can come here or they can go to Cracker Barrel. All right. Then county executive responded. He said, the working people who eat at Cracker Barrel are the same ones who will be paying your sales tax at Brewers, Bucks, and Summerfest to bail out your poorly run government, but by all means imply we're deplorable. All right. So this went back and forth quite a few times. In fact, this was picked up by national media. So the national media was saying, okay, you've got this county executive and this mayor who are going back and forth on X, and they're exchanging these words around this sales tax. And, I was reading through this, and I know both of these elected leaders, or I know of both of these elected leaders. And, it struck me that this was, as I'm going to quote from County Executive Paul Farrow, who was also part of this interview, is that sometimes these elected leaders will sometimes rib each other. Sometimes they will take shots, and sometimes they're just telling the truth, right? And I think this is what Josh Schoeman was trying to point out, is that Washington County has a high quality of life, but we've got the lower sales tax. We don't have the issues that Milwaukee has. And so we didn't need to look at this sales tax increase. We didn't need to increase the sales tax because we just run our government different. We have a different set of issues. So, when I look at these comments, I don't believe that they are ill-spirited, but it's certainly causing a lot of drama. And I think it's causing a lot of, unnecessary, I think, context. I looked at Urban Milwaukee, writer Bruce Murphy. He did a piece following some of these tweets, and I think he went a little far. He's suggesting that these anti-urban views are out of touch, that he's saying, there are racist tones to some of these comments, and that he doesn't understand how to run a government. He goes after his job and his religion. And I think this is going just a little too far. And so can these politicians go back and forth? Can these municipalities compete and do it in the public forum? Yeah, I mean, that's what the public forum is for. I would bet, though, behind closed doors, these two elected officials would probably agree on more than they disagree on. But you gotta be pushing your community. I mean, I am not going to hold it against our mayor of Milwaukee, for highlighting the great things of our city. Set aside the tax increase, the sales tax increase, that can be debated all over the place. But can these politicians promote their own cities? Or is this a bridge too far? 855-616-1620. That's the old national talk and text line. Are these X discussions and X spats too much? We'll discuss my response when we return. It's 1:19 here on WTMJ.
Be our eyes on the road. See something out there that I should know about?
Hi there. I was trying to report a traffic accident for your traffic reporter, Debbie Lazica.
Call me, Debbie Lazica, at thehallmazda.com traffic tip line at 414-238-9329.
Hi, Debbie. It's Michael. Eastbound 894, and there's a fender bender, and these guys are blocking the right lane.
The drive affects you. Why not be part of it? Give me a call, 414-238-9329.
Better days start with a better night's sleep on a mattress from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in Milwaukee, our mattresses are custom built to your needs. We have all the comfort and firmness options to give you your best night's rest. Buying direct from our factory showrooms will save you up to 50% compared to national brands. Shop today during our New Year's sale at Ken Michaels Furniture for over 75 years of uncompromising quality, local factory direct saving, and your best night's sleep. Start the new year right with Norwalk Furniture on sale now at Ken Michaels Furniture. Save 35% on showroom pieces that are ready for immediate delivery, or in just 35 days, you can create a look that reflects your unique style with over 850 fabric and leather options and comfort levels, from cuddling to extra firm support. Norwalk Furniture's American roots go back over 102 years. For better quality American-made upholstery, shop the Norwalk Upholstery Sale at any Ken Michaels Furniture locations in Greenfield, Brookfield, or downtown.
No one wanted to hire me. They just saw my disability, but not me. I worked hard to get the education and the skills needed to thrive. I was ready to work. Then someone believed in me and said yes.
And once you say yes, Thinkability Wisconsin will be there, providing transition and workforce support for people with disabilities and their employers to help shape a better future for all. It all starts when you say yes. Join the movement at thinkabilitywi.org.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
1:22 on the dot on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson in with you discussing the back and forth on X between Mayor Cavalier Johnson and Washington County Executive Josh Schoeman, who regularly appears on Steve Scaffidi's show. I know I'd sent him a text. We were going a little bit back and forth. He's tied up on conference calls right now. So anyway, taking some calls on that. Is this appropriate? What are the implications long term? And will these leaders, who are both rising stars, I should mention, in their respective parties, rising stars in their parties, who knows where they'll be in the future? But is this too far? Scott in Milwaukee, you're on WTMJ.
Good afternoon. Yeah, this my comment on this topic is that what Milwaukee County sends the state of Wisconsin in terms of shared revenue, Milwaukee County only gets 1/3 of that money back.
Yes.
Counties like Washington County,
yes,
Ozaukee County, Waukesha County, and many other rural counties around Wisconsin, from a budgetary standpoint, do not even exist or could not even survive without the shared revenue that they get back from the state of Wisconsin, which originates from Milwaukee County.
Yes.
All right, and then also So the comments made by the county executive of Washington County were completely inappropriate. They were not of a team building nature. And right now, residents of Washington County are complaining whenever that the criminal element from Milwaukee County is starting to filter into their county. All right, a lot of that is due to short staffing on police forces.
Mm-hmm.
If Washington County does not want the police department funded in the city of Milwaukee or Milwaukee County, then I guess that money should be devoted to other purposes. And also, like I said, again, this goes back to the American Family Field debate. All right, find me another county, all right, in the state of Wisconsin that has cultural attractions that draw 3 million people a year. You're not going to find it.
Scott, I thank you for the call. And I mean, Scott clearly understands the shared revenue, which is very, very complicated. I mean, it is a very, very complicated issue, and it was by no means solved during the shared revenue legislation that was passed in bipartisan fashion. As part of that shared revenue legislation, Milwaukee County and the city of Milwaukee were also allowed to vote on a sales tax increase for both of those respective municipalities. And so they did do that because they needed to solve for their problems. And I supported that. I supported that legislation and that decision because there were so many things that needed to be funded. And it wasn't the fault. These problems were not the fault of the people who are sitting in those chairs right now. But this back and forth between the two leaders, is this too much? Or at some point, are we going to get them in the room and we'll have the great grand bargain? Earl in Milwaukee, you're on WTMJ.
Well, number one, the first guy just really kind of touched on a lot of things I wanted to say. But this issue with the Wild Counties and Milwaukee, it's been going on long before Mayor Johnson and the county executive of Waukesha. It has been this way in this state for as long as I can remember, and I'm almost 70 years old. This Wild Counties against the city of Milwaukee, and the city of Milwaukee is clearly a city that is full of crime and all these sorts of things. And so, it doesn't surprise me. That's what what happens, and the guy from Waukesha and Ozaki and Washington County, that's all they ever do is point the finger at the city of Milwaukee, and the mayor has every right to defend the city.
Thank you so much for the call, Earl. I appreciate the sentiment. I think combined, both callers and some of the texters just suggest that they're very different communities. They have very different leaders and they have very different issues. And in my role, working with commercial real estate and working on some policy that focuses on economic development or infrastructure or incentives, things like that, it's so great to see these leaders come to the table and actually agree sometimes. But clearly, this was a time where there was disagreement. And who knows, at some point, Washington County, Waukesha County, they might be in a position where they have to ask to vote on a sales tax to solve for some of the issues that are the result of the people before them. So I don't know if this will be settled. I enjoy the drama sometimes, but we're getting a couple texters who are saying, hey, it makes me not want to live in either of these communities. But each community has its own assets, its own strengths, and we do need our leaders to be supporting that and showing that support, whether it's on Twitter, X, whether it's on social media, or whether it's for the podium. Right now, it's 1:27. I'm Tracy Jensen on WTMJ.
For all you need to know on and off the court.
Here's a lob up top. Giannis catches the pass from Middleton and stuffs it down on another alley-oop between those two.
It's Bucks Insiders on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
The Bucks are one of the best teams in the NBA. I think Bucks fans over the last 5 years have gotten used to Bucks winning a whole bunch of regular season games.
Every Thursday at 4:45 on WTMJ. Presented by fellow Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and Best Electric.
Get ready to kick off the new year with a smoother ride.
3, 2, 1.
Griffin presents the ultimate New Year special, where we pamper your car from bumper to bumper. For just $179 a month, we'll change your oil, inspect and rotate your tires, replace the air filter and wiper blades. But that's not all. Our expert technicians will give your car a complete multi-point inspection, check the battery, and make sure your heat is ready for the winter chill. Start the new year right with one of Griffin's 5 service departments, where quality meets affordability. Visit us today. Let's make your ride the envy of the road. See Griffin for details and restrictions. Griffin, driving into the new year with confidence.
It's WTMJ's Debbie Lazaga for Comfort Awnings. You've heard me talk about the wonderful new retractable awning the team at Comfort Awnings installed at my home. Now I can have all the cookouts and get-togethers in my backyard with some extra shade and relaxation for my guests. Comfort Awnings is a local family-owned company in Burlington that provides expert installation in southeast Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Right now, you'll receive a free motor with the purchase of any awning or screen until the end of January. Call 414-AWNINGS for a free estimate or visit comfortawnings.com.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Welcome back on WTMJ. We're going to call 1 o'clock, 1 to 1:30. But we're talking about all the drama, right? And it's drama that impacts us. I think some people get stressed out by the drama. But I want to end with this story, and it's actually like a 3.0 or 4.0 to this battle between Jimmy Kimmel and Aaron Rodgers. We saw late last week, Aaron Rodgers, who appears on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN, that he was asked about the Jeffrey Epstein papers where they were releasing the names of the people who were associated with this, sex offender, this pedophile, whatever. And Aaron Rodgers suggested that Jimmy Kimmel doesn't want to see this list, and implying that perhaps Jimmy Kimmel's name would be on that list. Well, this has sparked a ton of controversy to the point where Pat McAfee, who hosts the ESPN show with Aaron Rodgers, had to come out and apologize. He didn't mean to stir up that drama. And that's led to a whole nother set of drama over at ESPN. But Aaron Rodgers was back on the airwaves today, and he said that he did not call Jimmy Kimmel a pedophile, reiterating his skepticism of vaccines and just being Aaron Rodgers, doing what Aaron Rodgers does. And he basically apologized. He said, "I did not mean to make that implication. I was not trying to be that big of a jerk." I wonder if his agents and his handlers said, "Hey, man, you need to get in front of this because this could really, really be bad." But this was after Jimmy Kimmel went on a 7-minute roast of the Jets quarterback, calling Aaron Rodgers too ignorant to know how arrogant he is. He really went off. I mean, last week we were talking about Jimmy Kimmel possibly filing charges, slander charges against Aaron Rodgers. I mean, those are serious charges. I don't know if they would hold because these are two celebrities, people that are in the public eye. Would a slander charge really hold any water? I don't know. But either way, this is certainly playing out to be quite the train wreck. I think there are other descriptive words for this type of interaction and back and forth. And in my take on all of this, and my takeaway, as I think many fans are realizing, is if you didn't think that these two celebrities were just so thin-skinned before, they certainly are showing their true colors now. The fact that they can't just let it go. The fact that they continue to charge into each other. Again, I would like to be in the room when these two have a kumbaya moment, or when these two can actually say, listen, this is getting out of hand. It just shows that when these celebrities really lean into this drama and this controversy, I think it can have a really negative impact. And people already thought that Aaron Rodgers was arrogant. They already didn't like the fact that he left the Packers. They didn't like how he handled the departure. They didn't like his stance on COVID vaccines and all of that. But I know from taking calls that talking about Aaron Rodgers is a very controversial topic. People don't love him here right now. But it's just showing just how weak these two are, and that they're really not men, right? They're choosing to do this in such a cowardly fashion. Look at Mike McCarthy. Take a page from Mike McCarthy, Dallas Cowboys coach, former Packers coach, who, when asked about the Packers-Cowboys game this weekend, said, "You know what? I'm not going to get into the drama. I know that this is a storyline. I know you want to go with this, but I'm not going to get into the drama." And I think that's the appropriate response. So Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Kimmel, take a page, take a look at Mike McCarthy. That's what a true leader looks like. That's how they handle controversy. When we come back, we're going to discuss this for-profit nursing school that's coming to Wisconsin. And it sounds like there's no chance that it's not coming to Wisconsin. We'll discuss for-profit colleges when we return. It's 1:35. I am Tracy Johnson here on WTMJ.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is with complete confidence stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
1:37 on WTMJ. Happy snow day to those of you who are at home, possibly watching a movie, or Fargo. I saw a lot of people are catching up on Fargo. I don't know if that's a thing right now. A lot of texters weighing in on, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Kimmel, and Mike McCarthy. They're both jerks. Rodgers and Kimmel, that is. I agree. They're thin-skinned. They're jerks. Mike McCarthy, oh, come on. He continue his tradition of losing to inferior teams. All right. Well, I hope he loses this weekend. I hope that Mike McCarthy continues that tradition of losing. So that means that's good news for our Packers. All right. Turning now to this story, it really piqued my attention because I am acutely aware of the problems that are going on in the healthcare sector, as many of us are. The shortage of nurses, the shortage of skilled practitioners. There's a real need. As we saw after COVID or during COVID, a lot of people left the profession. You've got an aging population. So if you're a nurse practitioner or a nursing student, I want to hear from you. 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. So here's the story. An Arizona College of Nursing, that's what it's called. It's a for-profit school, plans to open campuses in Milwaukee and in Madison. So I'm going to read from the article here. They want to open 2 campuses, as I mentioned, Madison and Milwaukee, by spring of 2024, and a second in Madison by 2025. The college still has a number of administrative hurdles to cross before its programs are fully approved in the state. But so far, the Wisconsin Board of Nursing has given the green light for the school to administer its accelerated program for a 3-year Bachelor of Science in Nursing. So in 2040, more than 1 in 4 registered nurse positions in Wisconsin could go unfilled. This is according to a 2022 projection report. So we are facing a major nursing shortage. Nurses are, you need nurses. You can't provide care without nurses. Nobody can do what nurses can. And so this Arizona college is planning to open 2 campuses here in Wisconsin. And I'm not sure if there are a number of others across the country, but they've targeted this area, right? So it goes on to say, although Wisconsin is home to more than 40 in-state nursing programs, just one other one, Rasmussen University, is for-profit. Others, while private or public, are nonprofit. And despite these options, more than 1,000 qualified applicants for nursing programs in Wisconsin are denied admissions annually. And so this school, this for-profit school, is facing opposition by the Committee for Equity in Nursing Education that includes representatives from the National Black Nurses Association, the National Association of Hispanic Nurses, and a number of other organizations. So why would there be this opposition to an education institution looking to help solve for a problem in our community? Well, the story goes on to say that for-profit schools are more likely than these nonprofit schools to enroll students whose parents did not attend college, as well as Black and Latino students, according to the 2022 Federal Reserve Survey. It also goes on to say that for-profits are more likely to put students in greater financial risks because students are more likely to take out loans, then default on those loans and struggle to find employment for those degrees. So there are a number of factors playing into why these for-profit institutions would face some of these hurdles, including the fact that only 65% of this college's nursing students actually completed the program. So what this school is doing, this for-profit university with this model, is they're going out, they're marketing this program in a for-profit manner, like any nonprofit institution would do as well. They're recruiting these students, and then they're not able to get them through the college. Meanwhile, these students have taken out debt, they've taken out loans, and from a cost perspective, this is on par with any nonprofit university. But they're not able to finish the programs, and they're not given the financial support and guidance. In my mind, the story suggests that some of these for-profit institutions are predatory in nature and perhaps are taking advantage of a population that might not have the financial experience with moving through the educational loan process and so forth. So should we look at this, though, as an option? Despite all the hurdles and despite all the potential backlash, we have a shortage of nurses in our state. Do we need to be looking at another way to educate these nurses, get them into the healthcare facilities, and help support our sick and aging population? 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Are you a nurse? Have you gone through a nursing program, and do you support this? Or is there valid reason for opposition of this for-profit nursing program? It's coming to Wisconsin. Doesn't look like it's going to stop. There will be 2 campuses open in Madison and Milwaukee. 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. I'm Tracy Johnson. It's 1:43 on WTMJ.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Chris and Tim closed their first loan with Accunet $116,000 ago in terms of the median sales price in southeastern Wisconsin. We helped their daughter buy a home earlier this year, and now we're helping them buy their retirement condo. We're told there were 3 offers, 2 cash offers, and Chris and Tim's offer backed up by an Accunet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. All 3 offers were probably over the asking price, but we're surmising Chris and Tim's offer was the highest because when the sellers asked the listing broker if they could count on the offer with the pre-approval letter, the answer was simply, Accunet really does their homework. It's not easy to beat a cash offer over the asking price, but that's exactly what Tim and Chris did with some help from their trusted family mortgage lender. If you don't think the lender's name on your pre-approval letter matters, think again. It's still a seller's market in the Badger State, so click on the blue button at Accunet.com today to get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Join the Brewers at the all-new Winter Warm-Up Fan Event Saturday, January 13th. See your favorite Brewers players in a fun-filled live show and get early access to purchase opening day tickets. Don't miss out on the fun. Get tickets now at brewers.com/winterwarmup.
outdoor living is a cherished experience here, especially in the warm season. Outdoor Living Unlimited is a local family-owned company that will revolutionize outdoor living at your home. Visualize your home and yard with an in-ground pool, screen room, pergola, patio, pavers, deck, even an outdoor kitchen. Get with Outdoor Living Unlimited and put that dream into action. The honest, reliable artists and craftsmen will be honored to work with you. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
We asked people why they sold their homes to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
We looked at a few businesses that purchase homes, and Grandview seemed to be the one that had it together. Not only did we receive a fair offer, but we were able to take as much time as we needed and could leave the house a mess.
Whether you have a hard-to-sell home, want a stress-free sale, or simply need to sell your home fast, Grandview Homes is the name you know and the name you can trust. Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
146 on WTMJ. Great to have you with us this Tuesday afternoon. I'm here till 3 o'clock. We are discussing this for-profit school, Arizona College of Nursing, coming to Milwaukee and Madison, facing some pushback, suggesting that for-profit nursing schools actually don't help the problem. 65% graduation rate from Arizona College of Nursing, and the fact that a lot of these people going through the program don't complete the program, and they're left with a ton of debt. They're left without a job. So we have a nursing shortage in our state. Should we be looking at any solution possible to help close this gap? Diane in Bayview, you're on WTMJ.
Good afternoon. I graduated from Marquette in 1982. At that time, tuition was about $4,000 a year. I've been working as a nurse since then, still not retired. My daughter went to MATC. She graduated, I think, 5 or 6 years ago, and she was paying about $6,000 a year tuition. Now, of course, neither of these are including on-campus housing, but it's a cost-effective way to get a degree in nursing. MATC has a wonderful program in nursing, and at the time she graduated, they had the highest NCLEX pass rate, the nursing licensure exam, of any school in the state of Wisconsin. I think that when you bring in a for-profit school, people are going to be spending more money on their nursing education. As you mentioned, they don't always finish, and it can be cost prohibitive. You get in so deep, you just can't get out.
Yeah, and that's a great. I know you're not intentionally plugging the MATC program, but that's a great testimony to some of the current programs and that we have out there. The fact that there's such a success rate, that there isn't necessarily a need for more education outlets.
Correct. I'm not plugging MATC. I'm just saying that is currently the most cost-effective option. And it's not a bad option. People might think, oh, MATC doesn't turn out good nurses.
Yep.
MATC turns out outstanding nurses that I have worked with over my last 42 years as a nurse.
Well, thank you so much for the call, Diane. When I think she makes a good point that we already have enough of the institutions where I think there may be a benefit to having another player in the market is to increase and expand the marketing and the outreach to try to recruit and attract people to the industry and to the field. Now, there are questions about the financial obligation. I think there might be some questions about how accountable might that school be to any of the state rules in terms of being able to have a completion rate. I mean, that's a really important number. One texter suggests that current UWM freshmen have a 50% graduation, so over 60 would be fairly high. But when it's for a specific profession, for a specific profession, I think you should have a higher success rate. If you're going to a nursing school and you go for nursing, that school should have a program in place. It should be able to stay attached to you. One of the issues with some of these for-profit models is that because they have campuses in so many different places, there's a lot of pressure on the technology. A lot of them are doing some of these hybrid classes, and people may not be as connected. So, what is the culture? And I went to a nonprofit college, so I only know what that communication and that relationship is like. I've never gone to a for-profit college, and I don't know that I know a lot of people who have, whether it was for nursing or whether it was for anything else. So you see these businesses and these sectors like healthcare trying to come up with solutions, and I think that we got to give this a shot. As much as I love our current schools and I love our current universities, the healthcare shortage is real, and that's life and death situation. So I think we got to give it a shot. I mean, if it fails, I think we need to, take a look at why it failed and make some of those changes. But it's a free market, and people have choices. People are going to get this education from somewhere. And the system that we have in place right now doesn't seem to be working. And I get it. One other texter suggests, of course, these nonprofit institutions are going to be against competition. But I think the world has changed, and the way that we consume education has changed a great deal. So if you want to weigh in yet, one more segment on this topic, and then we're going to wrap 855-616-1620. That's the old National Talk and Text line. I'm Tracy Johnson on WTMJ.
If you missed this,
Rick Schlesinger is the president of business operations for the Brewers.
We're just really thrilled that we're going to be here through 2050.
Or this.
There didn't appear to be a lot of panic as you watched people scurry off the airplane. The overhead bin stayed closed. I mean, it's very clear they paid attention to what the direction was to get off that plane in an orderly fashion.
Yeah, if you fly on a lot of international carriers, they want everybody to know what to do.
Check out Wisconsin's Afternoon News, the podcast, presented by Guy's Garage Doors.
I couldn't even bend over, but now after stem cell treatment, I can deadlift a house.
Now, this is an exaggeration, but I do hear about unbelievable miracle outcomes, and I have to ask, do you really believe them? If they were true, these biological treatments wouldn't even have to be advertised. Truth is, stem cell effectiveness is nowhere near 100%. It's expensive, and it doesn't last. At Rejuvenex, our FDA-approved pharmacological treatments ease inflammation and reduce pain. They're precisely administered to where your pain lives, and they work. Will the pain reduction last forever? No. But in some cases, relief has lasted as long as 24 months, and in most cases, insurance has paid for the treatments entirely. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
Siding Unlimited, named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 3-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
Losing sleep lately? The job, the house, the headlines, or investments? How about the feeling your investment partner isn't a partner at all? They might be operating in someone's best interest, but that someone isn't you. It's time for Annex Wealth Management. It's easy. Head to AnnexWealth.com, click the Get Started button. We work in your best interest as a fiduciary. That commitment runs so deep, we put it in writing. Does your advisor do that? Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Start at AnnexWealth.com.
When you hire your local CertaPro painters, you get the power of doing it right. Detailed project proposals, excellent customer service, and trusted professionals who get the job done on time and on budget. The power of experience. We're kings of the scaffolding and pros with the stucco. We've been there, done that. Get your project started at CertaPro.com and get the power of pro.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
A for-profit nursing school is coming to Milwaukee and to Madison. Is this a good idea, or is the for-profit model really wrought with problems. Sharon in Mequon, you're on WTMJ.
Thank you for taking my call. So I wonder how much this for-profit is a semester. And number two, sure. I wonder if it's primarily online, because many students do not deal well with that.
Especially in nursing.
Right. They need to have hands-on. They need to have instructors who can explain what's happening. And the MATC is really good. We also have Madison Tech. Mm-hmm. There are other schools that provide this, and it's not like a 4-year program. Sometimes the students take general education first and then take the bunch of nursing courses together. But they tend to be more successful because they have more support. You haven't investigated what this college is going to cost for a semester.
Sure. Right.
And these are students who need more, generally speaking, students who need more support. Doesn't necessarily mean that's true for all of them. I did teach at MATC. I'm a little biased, but I went to UWM. So I have seen both sides of the educational system.
Yes.
And they get much more support and much more individual attention at MATC than they would from some of these other programs. And they're not left with a $40,000 or more debt.
Thank you for the call, Sharon. I think she makes a great point that, you look at the cost for some of these institutions, for-profit universities, and I don't have the exact number, but a lot of nurses are texting in. They have experience with this. One thing to point out, potentially $40,000 a year. We don't know what the total cost is, but these for-profit options are really targeting these students who, you really need the support. Any student needs support and need to be connected to the university, the organization. And that's why, with an MATC or a Marquette or UWM, you've got an application process so that these schools can say, okay, this is a good fit. This is going to work out in the future. And this is really going to get people not only through the program, but make sure that people can pass these exams. A number of texters are suggesting that if you've got these hybrid or online models, that you're not able to offer the clinical support or connect them with the in-person clinical training or the faculty. I mean, this is a growing issue for these practitioners, and a lot of smart people weighing in on this, that there is going to be not just a problem right now, but into the future. We need to do a better job connecting these students, attracting more people to this profession, getting them through the program, and then connecting them to these healthcare facilities. And then making sure that the quality of their work, obviously, is good. And it's been a very, very trying time for these nurses. We'll continue to follow this. And again, this school has not received its state approval yet, but it doesn't look like the barriers are going to be enough to potentially stop this. When we come back, Jessie Apoyan from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel will be with us. She'll talk about the Iowa caucuses, and then also we're going to ask her about the RNC here in Milwaukee. She's a political reporter, and she'll discuss when we come back.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to AdventKnows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 2 o'clock, it's 35 degrees. Light snow, the heaviest snow in southeast Wisconsin, still to come this afternoon and into the evening. A little rain will mix in closer to the lake. When it's all said and done, the calls are still for 5 to 10 inches inland, 2 to 5 lakeside. High of 37 today. Tonight, the snow ends about midnight, windy, low of 29 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm John Mercure. As indicated, that snow will accumulate in higher totals inland. WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen says in some spots it could be a lot more snow.
6 to 10 inches of accumulation. So from West Allis and Wauwatosa west to Brookfield, Pewaukee, Waukesha, and Oconomowoc, places north to Germantown and West Bend, south to McWanago and East Troy and Burlington, 6 to 10 inches there.
Multiple live updates on the snow coming up this afternoon on Wisconsin's Afternoon News. The Wisconsin Supreme Court has set Friday as the deadline for both sides in the redistricting lawsuit to submit new maps. Governor Evers telling TMJ4 News chief political reporter Charles Benson why he believes starting from scratch with redistricting is preferable to simply fixing maps that didn't meet standards.
72 counties and lots of municipalities make some changes and maybe major changes in one place. It takes over the entire state. So I think it was a reasonable approach.
Former President Donald Trump back in court today in Washington.
To authorize the prosecution of a president for his official acts would open a Pandora's box from which this nation may never recover.
That's John Sauer, lawyer for the president, arguing before a 3-judge panel. The presidents have absolute immunity from prosecution for official acts conducted while in office. He's trying to get the federal election interference case against the former president thrown out. ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
Donald Trump's attorney argued that a president can only be prosecuted if he's first been convicted at a Senate impeachment trial. Justice Department lawyer James Pierce said that would mean a president could commit a crime and avoid prosecution by resigning before being removed.
That is frightening.
But Trump attorney John Sauer said what's frightening to him is the idea of past presidents being prosecuted for their official acts.
That is tailor-made to launch cycles of recrimination that will shake our republic for the future.
The judges on the panel seemed deeply skeptical of his argument. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
NTSB investigators are focusing in on bolts meant to hold unused doors in place on Boeing 737 MAX 9s after a door plug flew out of an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 9 on Friday while in flight.
The Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 door plug found in a Portland school teacher's backyard is being sent to a lab to analyze how it came loose. Lead NTSB investigator Jennifer Homendy says they want to know if the bolts keeping the door in place broke or weren't even there when it blew out, and they're looking into reports by other airlines that they have found loose bolts on their MAX 9s.
We have heard reports from United, Alaska, and Boeing about loose bolts.
Alex Stone, ABC News.
And for some younger job applicants, interviews have become a scene from Meet the Parents.
You may want to leave mom and dad at home if you're trying to get a new job.
I want you to meet my parents.
A new survey by Pollfish of more than 800 managers finds that almost 40% prefer to hire older candidates rather than college graduates. Why? Because they say 50% of younger recruits show up in inappropriate clothing and don't make eye contact. And 20% have brought a parent to their interview. 60% of those surveyed said they'd offer more money and better benefits if it meant hiring somebody older. Jen Clark, CBS News.
Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. A mixed bag. The S&P is off 9 points. The Dow is down 190. The NASDAQ is up 19 points. 2024 is here. Be ready with investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com. Sports up next on WTMJ.
This report's sponsored by Mr. Holland's Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit MrHollandsHeatingandAir.com.
Some things are better as a combo. Macaroni and cheese, Sherlock and Watson, peanut butter and sauerkraut. Hey, don't knock it until you've tried it. Here's another iconic combo. Heat and electricity, two of Mr. Holland's most popular home services, especially this time of the year. But if you think this duo can't be any more dynamic, check out Mr. Holland's Cold Weather Combo. Purchase a new heating system in January and get a combo-licious discount on a whole house backup generator. Or electrify your life with a new professionally installed backup generator and get a combo-rific deal on a new furnace. Plus, you may qualify for 0% financing for up to 24 months. See Mr. Holland's Home Services for complete terms and conditions. Keep the lights burning and the heat churning with Mr. Holland's Cold Weather Combo. Call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. If you want to give Old Man Winter a 1-2 punch, we can help.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Injuries happen, but you don't have to play in pain or stay on the sidelines. Whether it's your kids dealing with a sports injury, college athletes, or the rest of us weekend warriors, the experts at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin will quickly diagnose your problem, lay out a treatment plan that works for you, and get you back in the game. They fixed my knee. My mother-in-law is back on the dance floor with a new hip. These are the experts you can trust. Visit orthowisconsin.com.
Hey 620 WTMJ fans, Gary Ellison here for my friends at Best Electric Services. They're family owned and operated and have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's completing a residential or commercial project or even installing electrical vehicle charging. Best Electric provides quality service at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the Best Electric Services. Find out what they can do for you and visit bestelect.com today.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
The rough stretch for the Bucks unfortunately continued on Monday night in Milwaukee at Pfizer Forum. Jordan Clarkson and Lauri Markkanen each had 21 points, and the Utah Jazz beat Milwaukee by a final score of 132-116.
We've been in this position before. It's okay to be in this position. I've said, facing adversity brings the best out of you.
Milwaukee will have the next couple of days off before playing host to Boston on Thursday night. To college football, where the Michigan Wolverines defeated the Washington Huskies 34-13 to win the 2024 College Football Playoff National Championship. And lastly, over to the NFL, where the Green Bay Packers are gearing up for a trip down to Dallas to take on the Cowboys in the NFC wildcard round.
I fully believe that these guys have the mindset of just showing up, continuing to work, try to get a little bit better. We obviously know we have a great challenge in front of us.
Packers-Cowboys kickoff all set for 3:30 on Sunday afternoon. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Let's check out your Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. A major incident, I-94 westbound. Westbound lanes are closed near County SS because of a crash. Travel times, a mess throughout the system. I-94 eastbound, a delay. Highway 16 into the zoo. That's going to take you 3 minutes extra. 94 westbound, zoo to Highway 16. Right now, that's a 2-minute delay. Expect that delay time to increase as we head towards the afternoon with that crash yet to be cleared. 43 southbound, Brown Deer into downtown. Normal 3-minute delay. And on the Rock Freeway northbound, Highway 164 into the Hale. That's also a 2-minute delay.
Traffic is sponsored by St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores, Highway 100 and Layton Avenue, 23rd and Lincoln. Great stores, great cause, and unbelievable bargains. You're going to love it. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast, snow's going to pick up in intensity and get heavier this afternoon. About dinner time, it starts to drop off again. Total accumulation expected to be 5 to 10 inches inland, 2 to 5 lakeside with some rain mixing in. Tonight, the snow ends about midnight, low of 29 degrees. Tomorrow, cloudy, breezy, light snow, less than an inch, a high of 34. Thursday, light snow, 32. Friday and Saturday, more snow. Track of the storm not yet nailed down. Highs of about 30 degrees both days. Right now in Madison, 30 and snowy. In Green Bay, it's also 32 degrees. Snow continues there. In Waukesha, snow picking up a little bit. It is 30 degrees. Here in Milwaukee, light snow and 34. I'm John Merkier, Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 2:09.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old. Now here's Tracy Johnson.
Welcome back, Wisconsin. 2:09 on this Tuesday afternoon. Hopefully everyone is staying safe. I know there's some incidents on the road. We will continue to keep you updated on all of that, as well as any weather events that develop over the next couple of days. So one of the things that we focus on here on WTMJ, obviously business, culture, but politics. And we're following throughout the course of the year the events of the primaries, the presidential primaries. We've got a lot of state news happening, and we bring in the experts. And right now we are joined on the phone by Jessie Opoyan. She is a political reporter for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, who spent some time in Iowa and went to school in Iowa, now returned to Milwaukee, to Wisconsin. Thanks for being with us today, Jessie.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right. So you spent some time going to school and working in Iowa, as we suggested, and the first presidential primary is coming up. Have you ever been a part of a presidential primary in Iowa, the caucuses?
So I have been there for a lot of the lead up events to it, and have been there for, they used to have this thing called the straw poll that was kind of like the far in advance lead up to the caucuses. I have not spent an actual caucus night there, but I have been very entrenched in it and have become very familiar with it over the years.
So as a political reporter, though, you follow this. Why does the caucus in Iowa matter? And can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so there's something kind of unique about the kind of campaigning that happens ahead of the caucuses in Iowa. So here in Wisconsin, when presidential candidates come around, more often than not, it's for larger events like rallies, debates, town halls. But in Iowa, voters still expect to get a chance to shake hands with the presidential candidates who are courting their votes. So they have those rallies, but they also show up at restaurants like Pizza Ranch and Machine Shed, and they go to coffee shops and voters' houses, and it's just this really intimate, kind of unscripted way of campaigning. The winner of the caucus doesn't always go on to be the nominee, but a strong finish can give a candidate a pretty good boost in publicity. And the results also determine the share of convention delegates candidates will receive from Iowa voters.
So right now we're experiencing some significant weather in Iowa that we just heard was forcing candidates like Nikki Haley and former President Trump to cancel these events. And that's because, as you mentioned, they can't access the constituents and the caucus goers at these public places. So how is it different than what we have here in Wisconsin, where we actually have delegates?
Yeah, so the biggest difference between a caucus and your kind of standard presidential primary like we have here is you actually have to be there in person. So, when you have a primary vote, you can show up at the polls anytime that they're open throughout the day and the evening, and you cast a ballot like any other election. But when you participate in a caucus, like in Iowa, you attend an event in the evening, and there are speeches from people supporting the different candidates. There used to actually be a process where there was like a lot of negotiating between the different camps trying to get people to come over to a different candidate's side. They don't do that anymore. But you have to be there during that nighttime event to vote. You write your candidate's name down, usually on a piece of paper. And there are really very few exceptions for having to be there in person and really be there for the entire event. You also need to be a registered member of the party. So, having this happen in the winter, obviously it can affect the lead up to it with some of these events where they're trying to court supporters, but it can also affect just the ability of people to actually show up on the night of the caucus.
How many people are we talking? I mean, is this like the Pfizer Forum would be filled, 20,000 people, or is this a select group of people who are, like you said, registered member of the party that just say, okay, I'm going to participate in this caucus, and obviously the candidates probably have their people showing up. So how does this actually work, and does there have to be a consensus?
So it's happening at places like, high school gyms, libraries. It's kind of, I guess, a handful of smaller community groups of people. Like a place like Des Moines, the capital city, is going to have a ton of different locations. A smaller town might just have one or two. There used to be a process where you were trying to get, it was kind of the viability was the standard. So, if you're caucusing for Nikki Haley and you're looking at people who are supporting Ron DeSantis, and you get to see that, okay, well, Ron DeSantis doesn't seem to have that many supporters. Maybe we can convince some of those people to come over here to Nikki Haley. They don't do that anymore. So now it's just writing down the name on the piece of paper and in theory, hopefully getting a consensus from that and figuring out the proportional distribution of delegates from there.
That is a fascinating, it sounds very old school way of doing things.
It is. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a decades-long tradition, and it's definitely in recent years, I think, gotten called into question a little bit more as to whether this is, the best way to keep doing things. But for now, they're continuing with that tradition.
So we've got Iowa coming up next week, and we're going to talk about that a lot on this station. We've got New Hampshire after that. And then you have Wisconsin, which is in early spring in March. April. Is it March?
Early April.
The early April primary. I don't know where, because it's Super Tuesday is in March. I apologize for that. So we're kind of on the fourth or fifth phase of this election. Are we really going to have any decisions to make once we get to the presidential primary?
Yeah, I mean, when looking back to the 2016 presidential election, that Republican primary, Wisconsin was really important. Didn't end up really affecting the ultimate outcome, but Wisconsin was still very much in contention. Ted Cruz ended up winning the state for Republicans, and Bernie Sanders ended up winning for Democrats, neither of which, of course, went on to be the party's nominee. But that shows you how much we were still in play at that point in April. I don't expect, and I don't think most political observers would expect, for Wisconsin to really be in play by the time April comes around. You've got these really early vote states that can really kind of send a signal that influences anything from media coverage to donor activity. Then voters kind of watch that and try to figure out how viable their candidates really are, who they might think has the best shot at winning. And really, after these super early states, you might see a couple candidates drop out. And like you said, after Super Tuesday in March, I think we'll probably see that the field be pretty significantly winnowed by the time we have our primary here in early April. So we have a big event coming up here, not only in April with the primaries, but with the RNC convention that will be held in July of 2024. Have you ever been to a convention or covered a convention before? Yeah, I covered the 2016 Republican convention, which was in Cleveland. And so that's where Donald Trump was officially named the nominee after that very contentious primary.
So what do you most looking forward to then, as we kind of take that 2016 convention and take a lot of the learnings and, apply it to Milwaukee? I mean, is this going to be as huge an economic impact and as much of a media circus as people anticipate?
I would guess so, yeah. I mean, Milwaukee was supposed to be home to the DNC, which got turned into a virtual event with the pandemic. And, you talk to people in both parties, and there's very much an excitement, regardless of, whether it's your party or not, like you said, with that economic impact and just being able to kind of showcase the city, which is how you end up seeing, Milwaukee have its, Democratic local leadership come together with state and national Republican leaders to bring something like this to the city and to the state. And it's very much, it's a circus, it's a carnival, it's, a music festival, and then there's actually some actual, important political business that gets taken care of. So, I'm just excited for people to come from all across the country and get a chance to see how great Milwaukee is and the surrounding area, because you've got so many people coming. In all likelihood, they're not all going to be able to stay in Milwaukee. So you might have people, in Sheboygan or Madison, or I don't know if they'll go up as far as Green Bay, but you're going to have kind of a lot of different communities having an opportunity to show off restaurants, bars, hospitality, all kinds of things. And in recent months, we had a bill signed into law that's going to allow bars to stay open till much later at night, so people will have plenty of opportunities to get out and see what all these cities have to offer. When I was in Cleveland, it was cool to see kind of the city I would expect a different light, than you would see it if you were just going as a tourist. And also, it's a lot of people who are really passionate about politics and about their party, certainly. And it's cool to see so many people who are so excited to be there, participating in the process.
Well, and you're going to play such a big role in helping, shine the spotlight on our city and all the opportunities. And it's interesting. I don't necessarily work with the convention, but being part of the Convention and Visitors Bureau board, we're always talking about all these different cultural assets that we can highlight and our diversity and all of that. So you are going to play such an important role in all of that. And it's so great to hear your excitement and your enthusiasm. Jesse Opoyan from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, will you stick around for one more segment? We have a break to take. I want to ask you about some state politics and some state issues that you've been working on.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. After the break, more with Jesse Opoyan with the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. It's 2:20 on WTMJ.
As an independent tire and service center, our loyalty is to you, not the manufacturer.
It's the tire manufacturer's goal to design a superior tire.
But it's our job to ensure the right tires are properly installed on your vehicle.
A service our family has been independently providing for the past 2 generations. So make no mistake about it, our loyalty is to you.
And the dozens of tire brands we carry, like Goodyear, General, and Pirelli,
or Continental, Kelly, and Dunlop, well, that's for you too.
Because we won't know what type of tire you need until you get here.
So instead, we carry them all.
Because we install them all.
And every tire we install automatically comes with free flat tire repair.
Which means you're 100% covered.
No questions asked.
I guess you could call it family tradition.
Be safe, buckle up, and hey.
Always make sure you've got good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands. Your
due for service.
Richlands Tire and Service. Such a refreshing change. Richlands.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, we also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, AccuNet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. AccuNet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
2:22 on WTMJ. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. We are on the line with Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel political reporter Jesse Opoyan, talking about her excitement and enthusiasm around the RNC here in Milwaukee. She was at the Cleveland convention back in 2016. She's got a lot of great insights and great information to share. But I want to switch to local, statewide issues. You are a political reporter at the Capitol in the state of Wisconsin, and we've got a lot of action and activity right now. So I first want to thank you for taking time out of that. What is the most interesting thing that you're working on right now?
Well, we're kind of in an off period in terms of the legislature right now. Things are starting to ramp up a little bit more, but we're still kind of in the period of time where they're still getting started for the new year. So I still think currently the most interesting thing that's really just going to dominate everything that happens in Wisconsin for the next year at least is the shift to a liberal majority on the state Supreme Court. I think it's certainly the biggest political story we've had in the last year, and it's influencing. It's going to continue to influence so many things that affect everyone's lives in Wisconsin, including what our legislative voting maps look like, how elections are actually run and administered here, whether abortion will be legal in Wisconsin, education policy, potentially revisiting things like Act 10. There's just so many things that could come before the court or already have that could have some really significant changes to the way that policy has been conducted here in Wisconsin for the last decade plus.
Yeah, and certainly we have an important deadline, January 12th. Both parties have to submit their proposed maps, and those will be deliberated. And then there's a lot of very important deadlines that happen between now and something like March 15th. And these maps have to be in place ahead of the November election. So that's going to be fascinating. That's like the overarching story, and then you have all this legislation tied to it. It's just
exactly.
fast.
No, it's moving fast, and you've got the legislature and the various parties in the lawsuit trying to develop maps, and at the same time, the courts bringing in these consultants to work on things concurrently in case they can't agree on anything. And like you said, it all has to be in place by March 15th in order for those to really be in effect for the next election. It's we're going to have a lot of fast movement here in the next few weeks.
So part of your job is not just to look at the things that are so obvious, but in your position, you are looking for some of these untold stories and some of these untold issues. What is the most overlooked issue right now in our state?
I think, I don't know if it's overlooked so much as it is we're still just figuring it out, and that's just learning the full extent of how the COVID pandemic has affected our lives in all kinds of ways that tie into state policy. So, healthcare in general, access to it, burnout and staffing shortages within the healthcare industry, mental health issues that have resulted, the learning loss that we've seen with kids and how they, learn virtually versus in person, staffing shortages in all industries, childcare, access to childcare, the cost of living in general. I just think, almost everything that's come up in the Capitol and plenty of things that haven't really have tied back to or been exacerbated by just the way that our lives changed so much over the last few years. And I think that we're really going to be looking at the policy implications of the pandemic for really years to come and trying to solve a lot of those problems.
Well, and not to mention the fact that a lot of the COVID funding is coming to an end. And there were so many programs that were funded through, some of the grants and things that our state was able to obtain. And now when you say, okay, we don't have these childcare funding, or we don't have some of this other education or mental health care funding, how do we really solve for that? So I think that's a really important point. And a really important part of your job is to continue to make sure we're thinking about that and tying it back to the fact that we did have a major worldwide pandemic and still dealing with the fallout. Final question here. Since you started political reporting, have you noticed a change in attitude of the electorate? I mean, you are on the front lines, and I'm sure you get responses from people about your reporting, about the things that you cover. What have you noticed?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit of a downer note to end us on. I think polarization really, is kind of comes and goes in waves. When I kind of was first starting, we were on the backside of all of the polarization that kind of stemmed from the debate over Act 10 and things like that. That was starting to subside a little bit, but then you had the 2016 election that really divided people a lot. And so I think that is more severe right now than it was for a lot of my early years reporting on politics here. And I think just overall, there's a lot of disillusionment, heading into the presidential election. I don't think a lot of people are very excited about a 2020 rematch. And so, people are still driven and I think motivated to participate, but it's definitely kind of trended in a little bit more of a negative direction. But I guess if I could try to end it on a little bit more of a positive note, and that's we saw actually quite a few bipartisan policy solutions come through in the last year, whether it was the deal to keep the brewers in town, whether it was the deal on shared revenue, some stuff on education funding. So, there's still hope, I think, that the parties can work together and hopefully maybe that can counter some of that disillusionment a little bit as voters see that kind of stuff can still be done.
Jesse Opoyan with Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. I mean, here's the bottom line, is you have a huge role in helping to tell the stories. And I know your job as a reporter, you have to report on what's happening and the facts, and you do a great job of it, which is why you've been here for so long and you're doing this interview. And so I just encourage you, I mean, despite the controversy and despite the fact that people are polarized, I mean, what important work that is. So I really appreciate, you're coming on, talking a little bit about the Iowa caucus, what we have to look forward to at the state legislature. We'll continue to follow. What's your Twitter?
It's Jesse Opie, O-P-I-E.
Okay. On X. I mischaracterized that.
So. Yeah, I'm never gonna get used to it.
All right. Jesse Opoyan with the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
All right. So when we come back, we are going to touch on the 2.0 of this Alaska airline decision to ground the Boeing jets when the door plug flew off. So what's it going to take for us to trust the airlines again? We will discuss when we come back. I'm Tracy Johnson on WTMJ. It's 2:30.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Better days start with a better night's sleep on a mattress from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in Milwaukee, our mattresses are custom built to your needs. We have all the comfort and firmness options to give you your best night's rest. Buying direct from our factory showrooms will save you up to 50% compared to national brands. Shop today during our New Year's sale at Ken Michaels Furniture for over 75 years of uncompromising quality, local factory direct saving, and your best night's sleep. Start the new year right with Norwalk Furniture on sale now at Ken Michaels Furniture. Save 35% on showroom pieces that are ready for immediate delivery, or in just 35 days, you can create a look that reflects your unique style with over 850 fabric and leather options and comfort levels, from cuddling to extra firm support. Norwalk Furniture's American roots go back over 102 years. For better quality American-made upholstery, shop the Norwalk Upholstery Sale at any Ken Michaels Furniture locations in Greenfield, Brookfield, or downtown.
Great to be with you on this Tuesday afternoon. I'm Tracy Johnson. Here until 3 o'clock, we've got Samantha and Charlie in the producer booth. We had to move some things around today because of the snow. So I hope everyone's staying safe out there and they are prepared for what we're told is maybe one or two or a couple more really large snow events. I know all the kids had off of school today, so hopefully you are enjoying some of that time. This story broke late last week, and it struck me. And we actually talked about it on Friday when it was just kind of surfacing, and it was that Alaska airline flight from Portland, Oregon, that was forced to turn around midair, 16,000 feet in the air, turned around, had to land because the door fuselage blew off, a cockpit door fuselage. I thought it was an exit door. Initially, it was being reported that it was an exit door, but it flew off. It was in an exit row. Nobody was injured. It sucked off a kid's shirt, but there were no injuries. Immediately, something like 171 planes were grounded. It was the 737 MAX 9 plane from Alaska Airlines. They were grounded. United Airlines decided to ground 79 of their planes and really look into what was happening and why this happened. They said they needed to figure out, is this a vulnerability? Is this something that that we need to be aware of? Because the last thing we need with so many people flying is to lose faith in our airlines, in our airplanes, because there's some sort of issue. And when we were discussing this earlier in the week and late last week, we said, I just hope that when they discover what the issue was, we don't find out that they knew there could potentially be a problem. And late yesterday, we had heard that this particular plane, wasn't cleared to go over water because there were some warning lights that they couldn't turn off. And so there were issues with the pressurization in this plane. And so now they've grounded these planes and they're discovering that there are some loose bolts. They're discovering that there would be some vulnerabilities across the board with these planes. And yeah, they're tackling the problem. They're solving for the issue. But the fact that this news is out there that they knew there were problems that they didn't fix, I think it's going to be a real problem. I'm grateful that I wasn't flying over these last 2 days, or over the weekend. And I'm sure many of you listening may have been on a flight, maybe going to the airport, maybe getting off of an airplane. And our faith and trust in these airlines is certainly going to be shaken. Am I overreacting to this? I don't know. I don't have a flight in my immediate future. But do the airlines have just one more thing that they're going to be scrutinized for? One more reason why people would find it very easy to criticize an airline. 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Or is this a scenario where we're solving a problem? We're saying, okay, we've identified, we've identified there's an issue. We identified there's a problem. We need to fix it. We need to get ahead of it. Or is this a situation where they weren't paying attention? They should have been ahead of this. And as a result, they have rocked the faith and confidence of millions and millions of flyers across the country. I don't think I'm overreacting. I'm not sure I'm going to get in a car for my next trip. But the airlines have got to figure this out. And here's the thing. It's not only on the airlines, but it's on us as the consumers. We need to be patient. We need to be receptive when a flight is delayed, right? Or if there's a delay on the tarmac. We can't be getting up in arms. I mean, they're trying to take precautions and take measures for our safety. But do the airlines now have another challenge ahead of them where they need to be making sure that the general public has faith and confidence in these airplanes? The door blew off and nobody got hurt. That's great. But what if it happens again? We can look overseas and see that we've had issues with these planes overseas. In the past, 2019, 2018, there were a number of crashes with these planes. So where do the airlines go from here? 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. If you're flying tomorrow, if you're flying this weekend, do you have full faith and confidence in this trip? It's 2:37 on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson.
Hey, John Mercure here. I'm going on an incredible trip to southern Italy and Sicily. My wife and I would love for you to come with us. October 2024, what an itinerary. A full week in breathtaking Sicily, the stunning seaside towns with their cobblestone piazzas, UNESCO World Heritage sites, the breathtaking Amalfi Coast and Sorrento, taking the deep blue hues of the Mediterranean, sailing to Positano, plus visit historic Pompeii. Won't you come with us? Let me send you information on this great trip. It's john.mercure@WTMJ.com. John.mercure@WTMJ.com. Lots of food, great wine, time for shopping. It's incredible Italy next fall. I'll send you one of our beautiful brochures if you send me an email. John.mercure@WTMJ.com. We'll also be adding on Rome. I love Rome. Come with us, won't you? October 2024, incredible Italy. Breathtaking and stunning. John.Mercure, MERCURE @WTMJ.com.
Come away with me.
When you hire your local CertaPro painters, you get
the power of a cut above.
Decades of expertise to transform your home. From so-so to virtuoso.
The power of neighborhood painters.
We live where you live and probably like the same pizza place you do. Put
the power of pro
to work for you today. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Looking to build or remodel? Then check out the 2024 MBA Home Building and Remodeling Show, presented by Nuns, January 12th through 14th at State Fair Park. Meet over 150 exhibitors, and be sure to visit the Bell Bank Parade of Playhomes, the Backyard Area by Excel Custom Contractors, and the Step Beyond Green to Healthy feature area. Don't miss the MBA Home Building and Remodeling Show this weekend at State Fair Park. Visit MBAHomeshow.com for more information.
Welcome back on WTMJ. The Alaska airline flight fuselage door, the plug door. I feel like there's a technical term that I'm missing here. We thought it was an exit row door, and now it was just a placeholder that was designed into the 737 if they ever needed to do some depressurization. But what they're finding since they've grounded these planes is that there are a lot of loose bolts that they overlooked. And this is causing, I think, a lot of travelers to think twice about getting up in the air. It's also really shaking their stock price, and it's shaking the market. Boeing stock was down, quite a bit yesterday, and I think that fall continues today before they get that straightened out. But I asked the question, does this make you think twice about getting on an airplane? Mike in Illinois, you're on WTMJ.
Good afternoon, Tracy. How are you?
Excellent. What do you think?
So it is a little unsettling, especially when you think about bolts, which should just be able to be tightened.
Yeah.
I definitely think this reflects more on Boeing than it does the airlines. The airlines did shut down all those planes immediately after this happened. As I told your producer, I'm going to be flying in 2 weeks. I fly United all the time because, I live outside Chicago. Ironically, my daughter, who lives outside Portland, flies Alaska Airlines all the time.
Oh, my gosh.
She flies a lot as well.
On these 737s. And it's on these
I don't
seven.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't usually pay attention to the plane, I got to be honest with you. I'm more interested in the time and the place I'm going. But, it will certainly make me take pause. It certainly is a little unsettling, but it's not going to stop me.
Mike, thanks for the call. I think that he makes a good point. And he probably represents a lot of travelers out there who say, it's the safest form of transportation. You're much more likely to be injured in a car accident, as one texter from the 715 suggests. I'll take the odds, is what some people are saying. But the negligence that may be exposed from this, I think is very significant. And I wonder if people will be asking for their money back, or if these 737s will be permanently grounded. I mean, this is a very, very popular airplane that Boeing makes. And, the airline industry is just absolutely fascinating. We look at the consolidation of flights, the fact that these flights are chock full of passengers flying all across the country. And, I don't know if they're going to be experiencing cancellations. A number of texters are saying, you're not overreacting. I recently flew on Alaska Airlines and thought the brand new planes were great. These were brand new planes that are being grounded, and we don't know the age of all these planes and, where there's a loose bolt or a loose door or what have you. But this is very concerning. And I think there will be a lot more to this story. What measures will some of these other airlines take to make sure that passengers feel safe? You don't know what you don't know. And when I saw this incident take place, it made me flash back to 24 hours prior. And on Wednesday evening, I was on a plane, and I remember looking out the window, as I'm sure many of you can relate. And if you've ever sat over the wing, you know that when you experience turbulence, that thing kind of bobs up and down, right? It just that's part of the design, right? Because it's an airplane going through air at a very high speed. But when I think about it now, I'm going to be asking a question in my head. Like, are these bolts all tight? I mean, is this really safe? And I this is going to go further. We know there could be lawsuits, right? I mean, that's always the answer, unfortunately. But, there are a lot of things that I think that these airlines have potentially overlooked. I've experienced delays a lot, and I always thought it was because they were doing the check. They were going around the plane and making sure that every last bolt was tight. The thing that really, really stands out to me, and this was the first piece of information that we received, was that there was a warning light, a pressurization light that was on in the plane, and they knew about it. And they knew about it, and they didn't do anything about it. That they took off, people had no idea. But I have to say, though, when you listen to the pilot as she was talking to the passengers, and there's audio that's out there, there's even some video of what happened. Everything else on that plane worked as it was supposed to. The masks the oxygen masks came down. The staff was very calm, cool, and collected. There was great communication with the ground saying, we need to turn this thing around. We got a problem here. We got a door that just blew off. We got a little kid whose shirt just blew off. So they handled it just perfectly, right? The mechanics and the technical isn't going to go as planned. But if the leaders and the pilot can make it right, can make the people feel comfortable, they handled it just right. And the outcome, I would argue, with no injuries, no fatalities, is exactly what we needed to happen. It's 2:46 on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson.
What's better than free? How about play free all year? This January at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee, you can win over $2,000 in reward play every month all year long. Just play your favorite games to earn prize drawing entries. Then stop by each Thursday night in January to see if you're a winner. $400,000 in prizes is up for grabs. Over 40 winners each week. Yeah, free is for me. More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Whether you're an active or passively active home shopper, our agents want you to be completely up to date with what's out there and what's brand new to the market. With our instant emailed MLS updates, you'll never miss out on what could be the home of your dreams. All you have to do is call and tell us where to search, give us a price range, and soon you'll be totally in tune with your desired real estate market. Remember, MLS searches show you everything. Some of the other real estate sites don't. So call Benefit Realty today, where you'll pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com. 3.5 to 3.9% real estate commission. You can't find a lower rate of commission, and you won't be able to find better knowledge, service, and real estate expertise than you'll find with our agents at Benefit Realty. Because I know that's what you expect. Now, I'm not sure you'll be able to find the highest caliber of agents everywhere, but I can promise that's what you'll get here. So choose Benefit Realty to exceed your expectations, and you'll pay less for more. This is Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com.
Hey, Gene Miller here. The heart of winter is the best time to call my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. Save heating and cooling dollars down the road with energy-efficient replacement windows and doors from brands like Pella, Anderson, Marvin, and more. Hometown is your local source for wood, vinyl, or fiberglass, plus all of their products are installed by employee carpenters. Stop into their newly remodeled showroom in New Berlin and see the Hometown difference. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. HometownWindows.com.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Their video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
For WTMJ contest rules, visit WTMJ.com/contests.
Before you go looking for an area rug that you'll have to settle for because you think that the one you really want will be out of your budget, come to Design Exchange, where you'll find a formidable selection of Oriental, Persian, and other wool area rug choices at 25 to 70% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
If you're trying to find really good, high-end, distinctive furniture, the kind they just don't make anymore, then come to Design Exchange. But you better get here quickly, because the best furniture we take in on consignment doesn't usually last long. It may be vintage, it may have once been out of your range, but now you'll find it's priced right. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor at a value.
Design Exchange.
Imagine if you were afraid of flying in the first place. This whole Alaska Airlines issue would just double that. It just, oh my God, I can't even believe it. It's funny because I was just on a plane a day before this happened. And so it was just very, very immediate and real. And right away, I thought, oh man, I hope they don't figure out that this was an issue they could have gotten in front of. And sure enough, it turns out that, this is a brand new airplane and it was a loose bolts or something that it was not installed correctly. And wow, there's going to be a lot of questions to answer. And maybe that Amtrak stock is not looking too bad, but I digress. So to close off the show, I wanted to share a story that it keeps going and going and going. I usually try to end on a higher note, and as I look around for stories, you're kind of always looking for something that's not going to put people in a bad mood. And Thursday I was on, and I had a story about these Stanley cups. All right. And this story about the Stanley cups and the demand for these Stanley 40-ounce huge water bottles is one that you are all now very familiar with. It is being sold at Target. There was a blush-colored or lavender-colored 40-ounce Stanley cup that is all the rage. It's causing stampedes. It's causing people to, it's like the Beanie Baby of the Gen X or Gen Z generation. And you know when you're out in public or you're out with your friends and they bring up the fact that you talked about this story. Meanwhile, they have their nice 40-ounce Stanley cup. They're sipping away. And, I kind of said, this is such a silly thing. I can't believe that there's this craze. But it still continues on and on and on today. In fact, I just looked at, where is this at? And it says that there was a wait list of 150,000 people on a wait list for certain colors of this water bottle. And I think it's hilarious. But I know, and I know Aaron's not here in the producer booth today, but he said his girlfriend has a huge collection of them. So this is just one of those stories and one of those topics that hits so close to home for so many people listening out there today. So I just want to say thanks, everyone, for listening. Thanks for being with me today. I think we had a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys are staying safe in the snow. We continue to follow it throughout the afternoon because I know the afternoon is when we're really supposed to experience the worst snow. So we'll see what happens with that. And I would be totally fine if the meteorologists were 100% wrong. I am totally fine. I still will watch the forecast. I will still watch the news, and I will still trust you. Better to be safe than sorry, right, Samantha? All right. When we come back, we're going to find out what's on Wisconsin's afternoon news. But right now, it's 2:53 on WTMJ.
For the latest on Capitol Hill, tune in to CBS's chief Washington correspondent, Major Garrett.
The Biden re-election campaign and its surrogates will be making many, many traces through Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, for all of the